Chapter 1639. The attack was traceless. The air shield formed by the fist shadows made a loud noise in an instant. Longao was very clear in his heart that this was the shadow snake attacking him. It was just that the shadow snake was unable to break through the chi barrier that he released in a short period of time. It was not a solution after all. Longao didn't summon the reincarnation doppelganger. Longao knew very well that if he couldn't make the shadow snake show up, then even the reincarnation doppelganger would be helpless. Longao had no choice but to use the reincarnation eye again. Until now, Longao hadn't figured out the real power of the reincarnation eye, but he wouldn't die if he tried. The third eye on his forehead opened. The reincarnation air shield came out and covered everything within 100 meters. A sound of surprise. Then the shadow snake showed up instantly. Seeing this, Longao was also very excited. He never thought that the reincarnation eye was so powerful that it could change space and make the shadow snake show up. The reincarnation doppelganger came out quickly. Longao knew very well that even if the shadow snake showed up, he couldn't kill the shadow snake by himself. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots to prevent future troubles. The reincarnation doppelganger didn't care about anything. As long as Longao gave the order, no matter who it was, he would kill them immediately, including the shadow snake. If it was the previous reincarnation doppelganger, it was really unknown whether he could kill the shadow snake smoothly. But now, with the breakthrough of the reincarnation doppelganger, it was almost a matter of minutes to kill the shadow snake. After killing the shadow snake, Longao didn't even have time to heal his injuries. He immediately took a step forward and quickly left because he could clearly sense that there were dozens of powerful auras behind him. If nothing unexpected happened, these people were all Nirvana realm martial artists, the 13 elders of the Phoenix clan. If only one elder came in, Longao might not be afraid. But 13 of them came in at the same time. Even if the reincarnation doppelganger's cultivation had broken through the Nirvana realm, he would definitely lose this battle. There was only a dead end if he fought with them head-on. Longao had already guessed that the reason Lu Bo brought the 12 elders in this time was definitely to deal with him. Where is Lu Yi? Longao was very curious because in his opinion, even if Lu Bo wanted to come in, Lu Yi would not agree. Taking a step back. Even if Lu Yi didn't know about this, how could Lu Yi, as the patriarch of the Phoenix clan, not notice anything when Lu Bo brought 12 elders, which was all Nirvana realm warriors? It was almost impossible. Could there be something fishy about this? Longao seemed to have guessed something. His face was extremely gloomy as he cursed in his heart. It was true that one could know a person for a long time without understanding their true nature. They were one thing on the surface and another behind their backs. Longao had already guessed that this must be Lu Ye's doing. Otherwise, even if Lu Bo was the head elder of the Phoenix race, he wouldn't have the authority to mobilize all the elders to enter the secret realm. Lu Yi wanted to kill him. Although he didn't want to admit it, the truth was right in front of him. As for why Lu Yi wanted to kill him, there was no need to guess. Longao already knew. If he guessed correctly, there was only one reason why Lu Yi wanted to kill him, and that was because Lu Yi wanted to take away the Jianling Yuan spirit in his body, which was Xiling and Bailing. What a sheep in wolf's clothing. At this moment, Longao's heart was filled with endless anger and killing intent. You really think that just because you are Aoshue's grandfather, you don't dare to make a move? If you provoke me, I'll directly destroy your entire Phoenix race. Longao was very clear that Aoshue didn't have the slightest bit of affection for the Phoenix race. Even if he destroyed the Phoenix race, he believed that Aoshue wouldn't blame him. Longao had already decided that since Lu Yi was heartless, then don't blame him for being heartless. If the 13 elders joined forces, Longao knew that even with the help of his reincarnation doppelganger, he wouldn't be a match for them. What if he defeated them one by one? Longao definitely wouldn't touch cycle reproduction and nirvana fate tribulation easily. As for comprehending heaven and earth and becoming one with nature, the Phoenix clan had a total of 13 elders. 6 of them comprehended the heavens and earth, 4 of them were unity of heaven and man, and 2 of them were heavenly cycle reproduction. The last remaining Grand Elder, Lu Bo, was a Nirvana realm martial artist. In other words, among the 13 elders of the Phoenix clan, if he were to defeat them one by one, he could successfully kill 10 of them. Perhaps even the Phoenix clan could not afford to offend such a loss. It was better to offend the King of Hell than to offend Longao. Thinking about the Martial Artists Alliance, not only did they fail to kill Longao, but they also suffered heavy losses. They lost several Nirvana Fate Tribulation experts. Longao had a headache. Although he was prepared to fight back, it was easy to think about, but it was difficult to actually do it. Lu Bo and the others weren't fools. It was impossible for them to act alone. If that was the case, it would be troublesome. At the entrance, Great Elder, the life and death secret realm is boundless. Why do we have to go through so much trouble? Why don't we just seal the secret realm and trap Longao here? The 12 elders were depressed to the extreme. They couldn't understand why they had to do this. It was like taking off their pants to fart. If they directly sealed the secret realm, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to get out. Not to mention the 12 elders, even Lu Bo was a bit confused. According to his previous plan, he would directly seal the secret realm after taking Lu Ri and Lu Wuheng out. But what was the result? Feeling helpless, Lu Bo sighed and said, "Just now, the leader came to find me. He said that no matter what, we have to capture Longao, destroy his cultivation and destroy his Dantian, and bring him out of the life and death secret realm." So, it was the leader's idea. In that case, the 12 elders didn't say anything. Great Elder, the life and death secret realm is boundless. If Longao wants to hide, it will be hard for the 12 of us to find him. Regarding this, Lu Bo had already thought about it. He sneered and said, "I have already opened all the checkpoints of the secret realm. You have to be careful." Back in the days, the secret realm was set up by our great ancestor. Even we could die here. Great Elder. Before the 12 elders could say anything, Lu Bo waved his hand and said, "This is the leader's order. It has nothing to do with me. You just have to be careful." Then we should split up and search? 6 people in a group, search left and right. Once you find Longao's trace, send out the signal immediately. Remember, be careful. Lu Bo was also helpless. They had already entered the secret realm, so why did the leader still want to open the checkpoints? If that was the case, not only Longao, but even they would be in great danger. However, since the leader had already given the order, he could only follow it. Chapter 1640. 3 days later. Longao had already guessed that Lu Yi wanted to deal with him. Since that was the case, let's see who would have the last laugh. Facing the 13 Nirvana realm warriors of the Phoenix race, Longao was not worried at all. Enemies would only be obedient if they were beaten until they were scared. Under a big tree in the life and death secret realm. Xiling, is what you just said true? Longao's face was full of shock. He had never thought that there would be a star inheritance in the life and death secret realm. Moreover, there was more than one star inheritance. What was going on? Longao did not doubt Xiling's words at all. However, Xiling was also a true star cultivator, and a rank 9 one at that. Even if he was severely injured and could not recover to his peak state, his senses would not be wrong. If he could get the star inheritance, it would be a great thing for the Dragon Valley. Currently, the Dragon Valley had already obtained 2 star inheritances. One was Tian Chen's star inheritance, which his big brother Long Ing had already devoured. Tian Chen was a rank 1 star cultivator. As for the other one, it was Darkness' star inheritance, which his grandfather had devoured. Darkness's strength was far above Tian Chen's, and he was a rank 6 star cultivator. If they could obtain more star inheritances, the Dragon Valley would become even more powerful. No one would complain about more star inheritances. Longao, you have to be careful. Life and Death Secret Realm is not simple. What's going on? Life and Death Secret Realm was only a forbidden area of the Phoenix race. Even if there were star inheritances, Could it be related to the heavenly law? Seeing Longao's indifferent face, Xiling already knew that Longao did not take this matter to heart. He sighed deeply. Life and death secret realm. I'm afraid it's a life and death prison. What did that mean? Longao was a little confused. He did not know what Xiling meant. Why would a normal life and death secret realm become a life and death prison? Xiling, if you have something to say, just say it. Long Fu's figure also appeared. Long Fu and Xiling looked at each other. Long Fu said seriously, Miss Xiling, if we tell Master about this, I'm afraid he won't be able to stay out of it. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? At this point, Long Fu did not continue. Looking at the expressions on the two's faces, Longao became more and more curious. Is there really such a big secret in the life and death secret realm? He knew Xiling and Long Fu's personalities very well. Unless something big had happened, there was nothing that could make them so serious. There was more than one starry sky inheritance. Could it be? Longao, have you already guessed it? Nodding, Longao also seemed a little shocked and asked cautiously, Are you telling me that this is the burial place of all the starry sky cultivators back then? Master, your guess is correct. As expected. Although he had already guessed it, Longao's heart couldn't help but beat violently when it was confirmed. 10,000 years ago, the heavenly Tao suddenly began to slaughter all the starry sky cultivators of the continent. As for whether this matter had anything to do with the divine mathematician, no one knew. In just a few months, all the starry sky cultivators of the Sky Martial Continent were slaughtered. Not only that, but the origin of the Sky Martial Continent was also sealed by the heavenly Tao. Since then, no one could reach the starry sky realm. Now, there were only 2 starry sky cultivators left in the entire Sky Martial Continent. One was the Grade 8 starry sky cultivator, the heavenly Tao, and the other was the Grade 9 starry sky cultivator, the divine mathematician. When the heavenly Tao slaughtered the starry sky cultivators, no one knew where the corpses, primordial spirits, and starry sky inheritances went. If the heavenly Tao did not say, who would dare to ask? Xiling, Long Fu, how many starry sky primordial spirits are there? I'm not sure, but the only thing I'm sure of is that there are no less than 30 starry sky primordial spirits here. Fuck. Even if he had guessed it, Longao couldn't help but curse when he heard Xiling's words. 30, that was to say, there were at least 30 starry sky cultivators primordial spirits in the life and death secret realm. If he could obtain these starry sky inheritances, he would feel excited just thinking about it. However, before Longao could finish his excitement, Xiling said, Longao, you can't touch any of the starry sky inheritances here. Why is that? Longao was surprised because the divine mathematician and the heavenly Tao were in seclusion. Even if he obtained the starry sky inheritances, the two of them wouldn't know. Even if they knew, what could they do? Longao, how could I not know what you're thinking? Xiling's face was very dignified as he said slowly, If I was in my prime, I would definitely support you in obtaining these starry sky inheritances. But now, as long as you touch one, whether it's the heavenly Tao or the divine mathematician, they would immediately know and appear here. So that's how it was. If what Xiling said was true, then once he touched the starry sky inheritances, whether it was the divine mathematician or the heavenly Tao, he would definitely die. Under the starry sky, everyone was like an ant. Longao knew this very well. Longao was unwilling to give up the starry sky inheritances just like that. Not to mention him. He believed that no matter who it was, they would feel the same way. For a Jianling's primordial spirit, Lu Yi didn't hesitate to fall out with him. Thinking about it, one could imagine how important the starry sky inheritances were. Longao, you've already obtained Tian Chen and the darkness inheritances. That's enough. Xiling, I really don't understand. Since this place is a cage that seals the starry sky inheritances, why didn't the heavenly Tao completely seal this place? Why did it choose to let people in? As the saying goes, if one stands by the river, one's shoes won't get wet. Longao was very clear in his heart. Even if he didn't touch the starry sky inheritances now, wouldn't it be impossible for others to do so in the future? For example, the Phoenix Race. It should be known that the Phoenix Race could enter the life and death secret realm at any time. Since that was the case, why did the Heavenly Tao go through so much trouble to completely destroy or seal this place? It was simply superfluous. Longao, I don't know the secrets of the divine mathematician and the Heavenly Tao. I can only tell you that there's definitely something fishy about this place. It's precisely because of this that I won't let you touch it. As for the life and death secret realm, the Heavenly Tao made the Phoenix Race guarded in the past. However, the immemorial Phoenix accidentally discovered this secret and was killed. So that's how it was. Longao finally knew how the immemorial Phoenix had died. As for why the Heavenly Tao didn't completely seal this place, I don't know either. Let me give you a piece of advice. In 3 days, you should leave this place as soon as possible. As for other things, you don't need to care about them. With your current situation, the top priority is to quickly increase your strength. In 3 years, the Sky Martial Continent will be in chaos. The stronger you are, the better you can protect your family and yourself. Chapter 1641. Untouchable. Since things had already turned out this way, Longao could only choose to give up. Even if he had 10,000 unwillingness in his heart, what could he do under such circumstances? If it was just him, then even if he had to take the risk, it would be fine. However, he had his family, brothers, and relatives behind him. Once this matter was discovered by the Heavenly Tao, how would his family deal with it? With the strength of the Heavenly Tao, not to mention the Dragon Valley, even in the entire Sky Martial Continent, no one could go against the Heavenly Tao. Right at this moment, Lu Bo and the other 13 people suddenly appeared in front of Longao, their faces filled with anger. Lu Bo coldly asked, Longao, did you kill Lu Ri and Lu Wuhun? Lu Ri was his grandson, and also his most beloved grandson. Who would have thought that in this life and death secret realm, his grandson would be killed by Longao? He had come in too late. Endless anger. With a cold sneer, Longao's face was filled with disdain. Lu Ri and Lu Wuhun wanted to kill me, and I didn't do anything? If I didn't fight back, I'm afraid the one who would be dead now would be me. Lu Bo didn't care about this. A life for a life. Longao, seeing that your cultivation is not easy, I'll give you a chance. Destroy your own Dantian and follow me back to the Phoenix Palace. Maybe I can save your life. Hearing this, Longao laughed. If he really destroyed his Dantian, would the Phoenix Race let him go? Did they really think he was a fool? Laughing, Longao said mockingly, I'm really curious. How did you guys locate me? Life and Death's secret realm was boundless. Because of this, Longao couldn't figure out how the 13 people could locate him so quickly. Was there something fishy? Was it the feather? Thinking of this, Longao directly burned the feather in his hand. Before the 13 people could react, his sword had already slashed out.
Kill.
An order was given. The 12 people behind Lu Bo swarmed forward. With the combined might of the 12 people, wanting to kill Longao was simply an easy matter. The result? Before the 12 people could even make a move, they were already stunned on the spot. Some were dumbfounded, some were in disbelief. What exactly happened? It turned out that Longao had vanished into thin air just like this, and he'd suddenly vanished right before the eyes of 13 Rebirth Realm martial artists. If they didn't see it with their own 2 eyes, they would probably not choose to believe it even if they were beaten to death. Great Elder, how did Longao do it? No matter how much he thought about it, he still couldn't figure it out. Not good. According to the rumors, Longao has a supreme spatial artifact. Back then, Longao used this artifact to come and go freely. Otherwise, how could he resist the 3 superpowers? So that was the case. It was too late for regrets. Longao had already disappeared. Activate the spatial power of the Life and Death secret realm immediately. As long as Longao doesn't leave the secret realm, any spatial divine item will be useless here. He cursed in his heart. Lu Bo had never imagined that Longao would use such a move on him. In the end, it was because they had underestimated their enemy. If they had activated the power of space earlier, Longao would not have needed to use a spatial divine tool to escape. Inside the Dragon Seal space, Longao was also a little scared because he was very clear that he could enter the Dragon Seal space this time. Once he left, it would be a little difficult to enter again. After all, Lu Bo was on guard. In the end, whether it was spatial teleportation or Dragon Seal space, there were huge drawbacks. Although spatial teleportation and Dragon Seal space were incomparably powerful, once they encountered spatial interference, he would not be able to teleport or enter the Dragon Seal space. It was truly a headache. Spatial teleportation, it seemed that he would have to perfect this ability. As for the Dragon Seal space, he would have to find Long Fu. As for the 13 people, Longao wasn't too worried. Previously, he had been tricked by Lu Yi and had the feather in his hand. Otherwise, it wouldn't be easy for the 13 people to find him in the life and death secret realm. Long Fu, what should I do to prevent the Dragon Seal from being affected by spatial interference? How could Long Fu not know what his master meant? After thinking for a while, Long Fu said truthfully, "Master, the Dragon Seal has been sealing the blood demon for so many years, and its strength has declined too much. If you want to not be affected by spatial interference, there is only one way, and that is for the Dragon Seal to continuously devour energy to recover its strength." As expected. In fact, Longao had already guessed it. However, the Dragon Seal's appetite was too big, and the energy it needed was too terrifying. Otherwise, the Dragon Seal wouldn't have waited until now after so many years. It was truly a depressing matter. "Master, I will think of a way to deal with the Dragon Seal as soon as possible. As for your spatial teleportation, I just thought of a way to increase its power and teleport space." Speak quickly. Hearing that Long Fu had a way, Longao was a little impatient. The power of spatial teleportation was there for all to see. If he could increase the power of spatial teleportation, that would be the best. "Master, to be honest, the 9-cycle reincarnation technique that I imparted to you was something that I accidentally obtained back then. It is also a supreme technique of the reincarnation clan. Your spatial teleportation was derived from the 9-cycle reincarnation technique. After so many years of research, if my guess is correct, as long as Master fuses spatial teleportation and the power of reincarnation, the power of spatial teleportation will increase. Furthermore, as Master's cultivation continues to increase, the power of spatial teleportation will also become stronger." With regards to Long Fu's words, Longao wasn't the slightest bit surprised. He had already guessed that the 9-cycle reincarnation technique that he cultivated must have come from the reincarnation clan. Otherwise, these problems wouldn't be solved. If that was the case, then it couldn't be better. Longao was a little impatient. He wanted to try out Long Fu's method and immediately fused it in the Dragon Seal space. Dusk. Longao's figure appeared. Without the feather's lock, the 13 couldn't lock onto his position. Spatial teleportation. In the next second, Longao's figure appeared 100 meters away. Looking at the power of his spatial teleportation, even he was startled. This was because Longao could clearly sense that the life and death secret realm had been disrupted by the space. However, he had already successfully fused it. Even if the space was disrupted, he could still use spatial teleportation without restraint. As for entering the Dragon Seal space, that was impossible. If the reincarnation clone could also cultivate spatial teleportation, then coupled with the clone's strength, the power would be even greater. Longao also had the attitude of giving it a try. He tried to impart the 9-cycle reincarnation technique that he cultivated to the reincarnation clone. He wouldn't know if he didn't try, but after trying, he was startled. It seemed that the 9-cycle reincarnation technique was naturally prepared for the reincarnation clone. As soon as he started cultivating, the reincarnation clone already possessed spatial teleportation, reincarnation heavenly eye, and other divine abilities. This made Longao very depressed. Chapter 1642. He was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. Longao knew very well that if his reincarnation avatar had such a spirit technique, then his strength would be greatly improved. Unknowingly, Longao arrived outside a valley. Inside the valley, black mist lingered, and a strange airflow permeated everywhere. Longao. This is the place where the heavenly Tao's sealed the starry sky essence spirit. Sure enough, Longao sensed the constantly flowing black mist in the valley in front of him and guessed that the valley in front of him was likely the place where the starry sky essence spirit was sealed. Enter? Or not? After thinking about it, Longao finally decided to go in and take a look. As soon as he stepped into the valley, Longao could not help but shudder. He found that under the black mist, it was difficult to see the entire valley. This time, Longao did not intend to enter the valley to obtain the starry sky inheritance. Longao, you're cultivating here. You're really lucky. After so many years, this place can be said to be the best place for martial artists to cultivate. The starry sky essence spirit gave birth to such a sacred cultivation ground. He nodded. Without the slightest hesitation, Longao immediately sat down cross-legged and operated the 9 revolving reincarnation technique. The firmament devouring secret art. A huge black vortex appeared behind Longao and began to crazily devour the surrounding black mist. According to Xilinx's words, the surrounding black mist was the airflow produced by the starry sky essence spirit after 10,000 years. For martial artists, it had indescribable benefits. Longao did not dare to absorb the surrounding black mist directly. Otherwise, if he tried to forcibly devour it, he was afraid that only one thing would happen, that is, self-destruction. With the help of the firmament-devouring secret art, Longao quickly poured the black mist into the Longfu's body. After Longfu refined it, he continued to output it to Longao. The cycle was endless. In this way, the black mist in Longao's body began to form a cycle of airflow, comprehending the heaven and earth. In just a short hour, Longao was shocked to discover that he had already touched the power of heaven and earth. As long as he was willing, he could comprehend heaven and earth at any time and become a nirvana realm martial artist. As long as he took this step, he would enter another world. But would Longao choose to comprehend heaven and earth? Without a doubt, Longao ultimately chose to give up on comprehending heaven and earth. Longao was extremely clear in his heart that with his current situation, even if he left the gorge, no matter when and where in the future, so long as he was willing, he would be able to comprehend the heavens and the earth and attain the rebirth realm. Since that was the case, why should he be so stubborn? Longao still chose to continue stabilizing his peak Emperor God realm. Because in this way, as long as he chose to break through 8 months later, once he broke through to the Nirvana realm, there would be indescribable benefits for his future improvement. He continued to stabilize. With the help of the surrounding black fog, Longao originally needed 8 months to stabilize his cultivation base. However, in this situation, 8 months could be considered as half or even 2/3 of the time. He was pleasantly surprised. In other words, after absorbing the surrounding black fog, he would need about 4 months, or even less than 3 months, to completely stabilize his cultivation base. Great Elder, Longao's chi has disappeared. Seems like this kid has discovered our secret. Nodding. Lu Bo's face was also very gloomy. He said coldly, now that we have missed this opportunity, it seems like it will be a bit troublesome to find this kid. Great Elder, what should we do now? Let's leave first. Leave? Hearing the Great Elder's words, the 12 people were shocked. Because this was an order from the Patriarch himself. If they chose to leave and the Patriarch blamed them, how are they going to explain it? Great Elder. Waving his hand, Lu Bo said with an extremely firm voice, our Phoenix clan is facing a great disaster now. Longao is sealed here and can't leave at all. After settling the matter outside, we will come back and take care of this kid slowly. Let's go. Since the Great Elder had already decided, the 12 people could only keep silent. Then, the 13 people suddenly disappeared from the life and death secret realm. Outside the Phoenix clan, Long Tian, Thousand Beasts ancestor, Xing Kuan, and the others, a total of 140 Nirvana realm warriors, all surrounded the Phoenix Peak, each of them emitting a powerful chi. One could imagine the power of 140 Nirvana realm warriors releasing their chi at the same time. Brother Liu, I believe you already know the purpose of our visit this time. I hope you can hand over Longao, and we will turn around and leave. Otherwise, we will force our way into the Phoenix clan. Looking at the people in front of him, Liu Ye's face was extremely gloomy. The immemorial Qilin was right beside him, but even so, wanting to fight against so many Nirvana realm warriors was like hitting a rock with an egg. Everyone, you must be joking. Longao came to our Phoenix clan not long ago, but just yesterday Longao has already left. I hope everyone can leave now to avoid any misunderstandings. Longao has already left? Nobody would believe that. Everyone present was an old fox, and no one believed Liu Ye's words. Because ever since Thousand Beasts' ancestors spread the news, everyone had their eyes on the Phoenix clan. If Longao had really left the Phoenix clan, the news would definitely spread. Brother Liu, you and I are both smart people. Why are you pretending? You know whether Longao has already left or not. Since Thousand Beasts' ancestors spread the news about Jianling's primordial spirit, he definitely wanted to use someone else to do his dirty work. Otherwise, why would he go through so much trouble? Therefore, no matter what happened during this trip to the Phoenix clan, they had to deal with Longao and eliminate all future troubles. The Starry Sky Essence Spirit Sword Spirit was something that all Nirvana realm martial artists dreamed of obtaining. If not for this, how could it attract so many Nirvana realm martial artists at this moment? Seeing that Liu Yi did not speak, everyone was ready to make a move. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that as long as the Phoenix clan did not hand over Longao, these Nirvana realm warriors would swarm over. At that time, even if the Phoenix clan was one of the 3 supreme races of divine beasts, there would only be one result, and that would be total annihilation. Right at this moment, Liu Bo and the other 13 people suddenly appeared and stood beside Liu Yi. Through spiritual sense transmission, they roughly explained what had happened in the life and death secret realm. After listening, Liu Ye's heart thumped, but he was not worried at all. Since Longao had been sealed in the life and death secret realm, it was almost impossible for him to leave. Brother Liu, don't tell me you still don't want to hand over Longao? The myriad beast's old ancestor was aggressive. Although everyone knew the true purpose of the myriad beast's old ancestor, no one left. This was because everyone wanted to obtain the Starry Sky Essence Spirit Sword Spirit. If they missed this opportunity, who knew when they would be able to break through to the peak of the martial Tao? P.S. Today, all 8 chapters have been delivered. I hope that those who have votes can vote for Longao. Little 9, thanks. Chapter 1643. Was it worth it for a Longao? If it was just Longao, even with the relationship with Ao Xue, Liu Yi would not be like this. Sacrificing Longao could save the entire race. Not to mention Liu Yi, no matter who it was, they would choose to sacrifice Longao to save their race. But now, the situation was different. Longao had the Starry Sky primordial spirit Jianling. Once Longao was handed over, wouldn't it mean handing over the Starry Sky primordial spirit Jianling as well? Liu Yi would not agree. The primordial Qilin would not agree either. For a Jianling primordial spirit at the peak of martial arts, it would not hesitate to sacrifice the entire race. They were aggressive. Liu Yi had already cursed the ancestors of 1,000 Beasts' ancestor. Everyone, the Great Elder, just received news that Longao has left the race and returned to the 9 states continent. Pretend. Continue to pretend. How could everyone not know that Liu Yi was lying through his teeth? The more Liu Yi acted like this, the more certain everyone was that Longao did not return to the 9 states continent at all, but was in the Phoenix race. As for why, there was no need to guess. Everyone knew very well that Liu Yi also wanted the primordial spirit of Jianling. There was no doubt about it. At this moment, Xing Kuan, who had not spoken, suddenly took a step forward and said indifferently, Liu Yi, I believe you already know the purpose of our visit this time. If I'm not wrong, you should be here for the same reason. Liu Yi did not speak, nor did anyone else. Everyone looked at the great demon who rose 10,000 years ago and was known as the #1 person under the heavenly Tao. His strength was above the thousand beasts' ancestor. Xing Kun was not only powerful, but also famous for his ruthlessness. Everyone was afraid of him. Brother Liu, in that case, why don't we speak frankly? You and I, including everyone present, are here for the Jianling primordial spirit on Longao. In that case, Brother Liu should not hide his strength. Liu Ye's face grew gloomier. Xing Kun turned a blind eye. His cultivation had already reached the peak of nirvana rebirth. If he could devour Jianling's essence spirit, he would definitely break through to the starry sky realm. Another purpose was to use this opportunity to get rid of Longao in one fell swoop. Brother Liu, I hope you can hand over Longao. As for whether you can get Jianling's primordial spirit, in my opinion, it depends on your own ability. What do you think, everyone? If it was any other time, no one would talk to him. But now, everyone agreed. Reject? Or compromise? If he refused, the Phoenix race would suffer the wrath of all the Nirvana realm martial artists. At that time, they might not be able to protect Longao. If he chose to compromise, it would be impossible for him to successfully obtain Jianling's primordial spirit. Lu Yi looked at the primordial Qilin, and the primordial Qilin happened to be looking at Lu Yi as well. The two Nirvana reborn divine beasts looked at each other and saw a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes, because this matter was already out of their control. Inside life and death's secret realm, 6 hours. Longao had been devouring in the valley for 6 hours. When he wanted to continue devouring, he found that he could no longer do so. He could only shrug his shoulders helplessly, stand up, and look at the valley around him, feeling very depressed. Leaving the valley. Originally, Longao planned to leave after 3 days because, according to Lu Yi, once he entered the life and death secret realm, he had to stay for 3 days. In this way, he had only been here for less than a day, and there were still 2 days left. But now, the situation was completely different. Lu Yi and the entire Phoenix race wanted to deal with him. Longao could almost be sure that, even if he continued to stay, he would not be able to leave after 3 days. Not to mention 3 days, even if it was 3 years or 30 years, he might not be able to leave. Lu Yi would definitely think of ways to deal with him. In this case, what was the difference between leaving now and leaving after 3 days? However, Longao was very clear that it would be a little difficult to break the seal here by relying on his own strength alone. Taking a step back. Even if he was lucky enough to break the seal of life and death's secret realm, what if he alarmed the heavenly Tao or the divine mathematician? Even if the divine mathematician treated him well, Longao could not guarantee that the divine mathematician would not let him go now that he knew the secret of life and death's secret realm. As the saying goes, caution is the parent of safety. Master, I have a way to leave here. What way? Longao had never thought that at this time, Long Fu would actually have a way to help him leave. Master, I know you are worried, but as long as I cover the entrance, you can use the dragon seal to violently smash the entrance passage. I believe that, even if the entire Phoenix Peak is destroyed, the heavenly Tao will not know about life and death's secret realm. Are you really sure? 100%. In this case, Longao did not continue to worry. As long as the heavenly Tao and the divine mathematician did not know about this, he had nothing to worry about. After he left life and death's secret realm, it would not be so easy for the Phoenix race to keep him here. Anyway, he could not get the inheritance of the starry sky. Moreover, his realm had been stabilized and greatly improved. He only needed 3 months to directly advance to the Nirvana realm. In this case, there was no point in continuing to stay here. Instead, 3 days later, Lu Yi would have a chance to deal with him. Life and death's secret realm belonged to the Phoenix race after all. If he continued to stay, he would be the one to suffer in the end. Arriving at the entrance, Longao looked at the air in front of him and took out the dragon seal from his dantian. On the other side, Long Fu borrowed the power of the dragon seal and directly released the power to cover 100 li radius. In this way, even if he destroyed life and death's secret realm, as long as he did not touch the starry sky inheritance in the valley, the heavenly Tao would not sense it. This was a foolproof plan. Taking a deep breath, Longao coldly looked at the space in front of him. The next moment, the dragon seal in his hand had already been fiercely smashed out. Longao used all his strength once, twice, thrice. God knew how many times he had smashed. However, apart from the strong fluctuations in the space, there seemed to be no sign of opening. As for the reincarnation sword, if he broke the space and got sucked into the space crack, not to mention opening the passage, wouldn't it be like going for wool and coming home shorn? Long Fu, what the hell is going on? Master, don't smash a large area. Remember, as long as you concentrate on one point, according to my guess, you only need 30 smashes to open the passage. Then you can leave smoothly. So that was it. Longao followed Long Fu's instructions and did not continue to smash. Instead, he concentrated on one point and began to smash fiercely, once, twice, thrice, for times. God knew how many times he had smashed, but it was definitely no less than 30. The space at the entrance suddenly began to tremble violently. Chapter 1644. Outside Phoenix Peak. Everyone was aggressive and a battle was about to break out. Lu Yi and immemorial Qilin knew very well that it was almost impossible to monopolize Jianling's spirit under such circumstances. What should they do? In that case, we'll do as Brother Xing says. I'll hand over Longao. As for who can get Jianling's spirit, it'll depend on our own abilities. Hearing this, everyone was overjoyed, especially Thousand Beasts' ancestor and the others. They had successfully broken through the peak of Nirvana rebirth and were only one step away from officially becoming a Nirvana realm martial artist. Only the last step was as difficult as ascending to heaven. Because of this, everyone was looking forward to it. If they could devour Jianling's spirit, then breaking through to the starry sky realm would be just around the corner. Brother Lu, I want to ask, where is Longao now? This was a top priority. Since Lu Yi had agreed, Xing Kuan and the others were a little anxious and couldn't wait to find Longao immediately. At this moment, boom! A loud noise instantly resounded through the world. The entire Phoenix Peak shook violently and swayed, as if it would collapse at any time. What the hell happened? Everyone looked at each other and saw a trace of shock in each other's eyes. Especially Lu Yi and the others. Was it the life and death secret realm? Before anyone could react, a figure suddenly appeared in the air. Those with sharp eyes had already recognized the identity of the figure at a glance. It was his target this time, Longao. Everyone was overjoyed. What's going on? Lu Ye's face was gloomy to the extreme because handing over Longao and Longao appearing on his own were two completely different concepts. Longao's sudden appearance had completely put them in a passive state. Now, the chances of him obtaining Jianling's spirit would drop to the lowest point. Longao, who had just broken the seal of the life and death secret realm, did not seem to have expected that so many Nirvana realm martial artists would suddenly appear in front of him. Were they all for Jianling's spirit in his hands? If so, things would be troublesome. What should come will come. He would take one step at a time and deal with whatever came his way. Longao knew very well that the myriad beast's ancestor had revealed this matter. At this moment he was certain. He walked steadily to the center of the two sides, without the slightest bit of fear. His face was calm. Just this calmness and courage was enough to look down on the world. Try asking. In the Sky Martial Continent, who could face over 140 Nirvana realm martial artists at the same time without any change in expression? Other than Longao, who could do it? He asked himself honestly. However, under the circumstances, everyone only had one goal, which was to obtain the Jianling primordial spirit in Longao's body. As for mocking Longao, no one mocked Longao, as no one had the confidence to do so. Lu Yi, since you want to deal with me, why did you let me enter the life and death secret realm? Longao was almost certain that as long as he leaked the secret of the life and death secret realm, all the Nirvana realm martial artists in front of him would rush into the secret realm, including Lu Yi and the ancient Qilin. If he wanted to catch all of them in one fell swoop, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But could he do so? Longao was confident that once this matter was leaked out, none of the people in front of him would be able to escape. They would all be killed by the Heavenly Tao. If the Heavenly Tao investigated, and he revealed the secret, the Heavenly Tao would definitely know. If the Heavenly Tao knew about this, wouldn't it deal with him? He couldn't gamble, because Longao couldn't afford to lose. Again, if he was alone, not to mention using the life and death secret realm to kill these people, he would have collected all the inheritances of the stars in the life and death secret realm. However, he had the entire Dragon Valley behind him. Once the Heavenly Tao found out, not only him, but the entire Dragon Valley would be in big trouble. Longao, there is a misunderstanding between us. Longao waved his hand. He didn't want to listen to Lu Ye's blatant lies. Since it had already happened, there was no point in saying more. I'll settle this score with you in the future. Would Lu Yi care? Lu Yi only cared about Jianling's Yuan spirit. As for Longao, he didn't put him in his eyes at all. Not to mention him, any random elder could take on 10 God Emperor warriors. Xing Kun suddenly laughed and said with a sneer, Longao, hand over the sword spirit primordial spirit in your hands, and cripple your own Dantian here. We are magnanimous and can spare your life otherwise. Xing Kun, don't dawdle here. If you want to fight, then fight. If not, scram. Before Xing Kun could finish speaking, Longao had already interrupted him. Furthermore, he was extremely arrogant. Xing Kun's face turned cold. All the surrounding Nirvana realm martial artists were similarly shocked. They had seen arrogant people before, but they had never seen such an arrogant person. Who was Xing Kun? No one here didn't know Xing Kun. Although the Azura Palace wasn't a tripod of 10, no one dared to underestimate the Azura Palace. This was because Xing Kun was known as the strongest person under the Heavenly Tao 10,000 years ago. Not only was he powerful, his methods were ruthless. If it weren't for the 10 Nirvana realm warriors joining hands, Xing Kun wouldn't have fallen. No one would have thought that the fallen Xing Kun could be reincarnated successfully. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. At this moment, Long Tian and the others were extremely regretful. If they had been more careful 10,000 years ago, Xing Kun wouldn't have been reincarnated, and there wouldn't be any future troubles. However, since Xing Kun had been reincarnated successfully, especially under such circumstances, unless Xing Kun attacked at the same time, Long Tian and the others wouldn't join hands to deal with Xing Kun. Everyone knew this very well. As long as the 10 of them didn't join hands, no one could be Xing Kun's opponent unless it was the divine mathematician, the Heavenly Tao, or a warrior at the peak of the martial Tao. Xing Kun didn't show the slightest anger. Instead, he smiled and said, Longao, hurry up and say a few more words. You won't have any more time later. Is that so? Longao smiled and said indifferently, since all of you are here to seize Jianling's primordial spirit, I'm afraid only death awaits me if I don't hand it over. Everyone laughed. In front of so many Nirvana realm warriors, if Longao still didn't hand over Jianling's primordial spirit, he would only be digging his own grave. As long as he was smart, he wouldn't make such a choice. However, Longao smiled and continued, there is only one Jianling's primordial spirit in my body, and there are at least 150 of you here. Even if I hand over Jianling's primordial spirit, who should I hand it to? Sowing discord. Everyone knew that Longao didn't have good intentions, but this was indeed a problem. Chapter 1645. No one said a word. Everyone wanted to get Jianling's primordial spirit, but under such circumstances, no one was willing to take the lead. No one was a fool. If they took the lead, they would definitely be attacked by everyone. Who could fight against 100 people? Xing Kun, don't you want it? Then I'll give it to you, how about it? Xing Kun cursed in his heart. How could Xing Kun not know about Longao's move? Killing with a borrowed knife. Longao, you just have to hand over Jianling's primordial spirit. As for whether you get it or not, it's none of your business. He looked coldly at everyone in front of him, as well as Lu Yi and the others behind him. If he handed it over, he would die. If he didn't, he would also die. Moreover, it was impossible for Longao to hand over Xiling and Bailing. In the next second, the reincarnation doppelganger left with the dragon seal. Seeing a Longao shoot out from Longao's body, everyone was shocked, but no one moved. Everyone thought that Longao wanted to lure the tiger away from the mountain so that he could smoothly leave Phoenix Peak. Longao was not worried about his own safety, but he was very worried about Aoshue. No matter what happened, nothing must happen to Aoshue. In the cave, Lu Ying, who was taking care of Aoshue, already knew what had happened outside. She never thought that her father would do this. Longao could not escape this calamity. Longao's death would cause her daughter to suffer. At this moment, the reincarnation doppelganger quickly entered the cave and directly pounced on Aoshue. Longao. Just as she said that, Lu Ying's mind suddenly transmitted a message with her spiritual sense. Auntie, the situation is critical. You and Aoshue quickly enter the dragon seal space. This is my doppelganger. Doppelganger? With Longao's strength, he was actually able to reproduce a clone that belonged to him. It was truly inconceivable. Lu Ying also knew that the current situation was critical. Even if it wasn't for herself, she had to do it for Aoshue. Without any hesitation, she immediately brought Aoshue into the dragon seal space. Outside Phoenix Peak, everyone's faces were filled with greed because they knew very well that as long as they could obtain Jianling's primordial spirit, breaking through to the peak of the martial arts realm would not be a dream. This battle was unavoidable. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Even if Longao had full confidence, it was still impossible for him to go against 100 by himself. No matter what, the Rebirth Realm martial artists from before and after were an entire 150-plus Rebirth Realm martial artists. If they were to swarm him, then even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms, he could only dream of surviving. As for Lu Li and the others, before the 3 of them could reveal their identities, they had already received Longao's spiritual sense transmission. The 3 of them were very touched because Longao didn't let them take action under such circumstances, because he didn't want them to die in vain. Facing the world's experts, Longao's expression didn't change. How much courage did this require? He took out a green ball of light that was filled with a powerful sword aura. Long Fu used less than 10 minutes to refine a soul slave that was filled with sword aura. He believed that within 2 hours, no one would be able to sense that this Jianling's primordial spirit was actually a fake. Jianling's primordial spirit? Looking at the Jianling's primordial spirit in Longao's hand, everyone was pleasantly surprised. However, everyone looked at each other and no one dared to take action. No matter who it was, even the myriad beasts' ancestor and Xing Kuan didn't dare to act recklessly, because no matter who it was, they would definitely be attacked by everyone if they took the lead. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. This is fake. Everyone don't be fooled. Ah? Fake? Hearing Xing Kuan's words, everyone who was originally pleasantly surprised felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over them. However, everyone could feel the aura of the Jianling in Longao's hand. Would anyone believe that this Jianling's primordial spirit was fake? Xing Kuan, since you say it's fake, I'll let you take a good look. With a whoosh, Longao had already thrown out the Jianling's primordial spirit in his hand. Seeing this, everyone around rushed up. How could they choose to let go of such a rare opportunity so easily? Oh no! Xing Kuan was almost certain that the Jianling's primordial spirit that Longao suddenly handed over was 100% fake. Longao did this just to kill with a borrowed knife. However, in Xing Kuan's heart, he was more or less hoping for a fluke. What if the Jianling's primordial spirit was real? Xing Kuan's speed was extremely fast. He grabbed the Jianling's primordial spirit that was shooting over. Xing Kuan, the chief-elect, the punishment master, and the 2 Nirvana realm martial artists of the Purple Flame sect counterattacked at the same time, forcibly forcing everyone back. Xing Kuan's strength and reputation were there for all to see. Thus, no one dared to fight him head-on. At this moment, the myriad beasts' ancestor sneered and said, "Brother Xing, do you think you can take the Jianling's primordial spirit for yourself? Everyone, don't you believe that the Jianling's primordial spirit in my hand is fake?" Although no one said anything, no one believed that the Jianling's primordial spirit that Longao handed over was fake. After all, in this situation, no matter who it was, they would want to protect their own life. Even if the Jianling's primordial spirit was important, it was nothing in front of life. Xing Kuan sneered. A black mist appeared in his hand. In just a few seconds, the Jianling's primordial spirit in his hand had already lost its sword aura. Anyone could guess that the Jianling's primordial spirit that Longao handed over was fake. Everyone was furious. "Longao, how dare you deceive us? What a joke. Why can't I deceive you? I gave it to you, but you didn't believe me. What do you want me to do?" Even if he died, he would not hand over Xiling and Bailing. In any case, this battle could not be avoided. Why waste time? Longao's body suddenly surged with an unparalleled fighting spirit. His fighting spirit overflowed. Fighting spirit? Feeling the strong fighting intent released by Longao, everyone was shocked. Could it be that Longao was preparing to fight 1 against 100? Could it be that water entered Longao's brain? The people here were all Nirvana realm martial artists. Not to mention 1 against 100, any one of them could easily deal with the other party. No one mocked him because Longao's courage was already admirable.
Kill.
Longao had already summoned his reincarnation avatar. As long as Tian Dao and Divine Mathematician did not come, Longao was confident that even if 150 Nirvana realm warriors joined forces, they would not be able to destroy the reincarnation avatar. Therefore, the dragon seal in the reincarnation avatar's body was the safest. Longao headed towards the Wanshou sect. His first target was none other than Shirpatian of the Wanshou sect. Because Shirpatian had killed his disciple, he had to avenge this debt. As for the spatial fluctuations here, it was impossible to enter the dragon seal, but using spatial teleportation was more than enough. Chapter 1646. The fact that Longao took the initiative to attack left everyone dumbfounded. In front of more than 150 Nirvana realm cultivators, a mere God Emperor realm cultivator dared to take the initiative to attack. Even if this news spread out, no one would believe it. Others didn't dare to do so, but that didn't mean Longao didn't dare to do so. Longao himself was a madman. A madman who didn't care about his own life. Shirpatian was enraged when he saw Longao rushing towards him. "Damn you, there are so many people here. Why did you choose me? Do you really think I'm a pushover?" Thousand Beasts' ancestor, Shirchong, Shirfeng, and Shirpatian, there were a total of 13 Nirvana realm cultivators in the Thousand Beasts sect. It was impossible for Longao to kill Shirpatian in front of everyone's eyes. Not only the Thousand Beasts sect, but the others also rushed toward Shirpotian's direction. More than 150 Nirvana realm cultivators released their aura at the same time, shaking the heavens and earth. Shocking the heavens and earth. This battle, regardless of whether Longao lived or died, his name would spread throughout the world, and his name would be immortalized for centuries. Just when Longao was less than 10 meters away from Shirpatian, Longao's eyes lit up. Longao's body suddenly disappeared. That's right, he just disappeared into thin air. Everyone looked at Longao who had disappeared, and their expressions changed drastically. Because Longao had a spatial divine tool, but they were already prepared and had interfered with the spatial fluctuations. If that was the case, how could Longao still use a spatial divine tool? No one would have thought that Longao didn't have a spatial divine tool, but a spatial teleportation that was even more powerful than a spatial divine tool. Moreover, the spatial teleportation had been upgraded. Even the spatial interference couldn't stop Longao from using spatial teleportation. Even if Longao used a spatial divine tool, they believed that Longao's target was still Shirpatian. Because of this, everyone still rushed toward Shirpatian. The result? Longao didn't appear around Shirpatian, but appeared in front of Long Hang without anyone noticing. "Great Elder, long time no see. How have you been?" Looking at Longao, who suddenly appeared, Long Hang exclaimed, because he never thought that Longao, who was just chasing after Sherpatian, would suddenly appear in front of him. Before Long Hang could react, Longao had already attacked. However, the person Longao attacked was not Long Hang, but Long Tian, who was beside Long Hang. He was a little dumbfounded. Was Longao provoking him? Anger. Endless anger. Long Tian's attack. Long Tian's bodies is, why Long Tian's is, why Long Tian's. But in the next moment, Long Ao's figure disappeared once more. What was Long Ao trying to do? Everyone saw Long Ao disappear and reappear, but he did not attack anyone. They felt a little puzzled. He didn't continue to chase Long Ao. Everyone already understood that Long Ao, who had a spatial divine tool, couldn't disappear completely, but he could disappear temporarily. In this case, even if the powerhouses here were as numerous as clouds, wanting to capture Long Ao was also a troublesome matter. In this case, they might as well wait for him. Anyway, Long Ao couldn't leave. Just like this, all the Nirvana Realm warriors didn't move. They surrounded the area, and as long as Long Ao appeared, they would immediately kill him. Lu Li, Yun Luishan, Yun Feng, you three leave immediately. I have my own way to leave. Just as the three of them were about to make a move, they suddenly heard Long Ao's voice. The three of them felt very helpless in their hearts. However, the three of them were very clear in their hearts. Under such circumstances, if they were to forcefully make a move, not only would they be unable to help the sovereign, they might even go for wool and come home shorn. The three of them looked at each other, and in the end, they still chose to leave. No one cared about them, but Xing Kun couldn't. You three, do you want to leave? You can leave, but as long as Long Ao appears, you can leave. Otherwise, you can stay here forever. The three of them didn't show the slightest fear. Their faces were cold, and their bodies were full of fighting spirit. Not to mention the master's strength, his courage alone was enough for them to follow him. Even if they died here, it was enough. Xing Kun, this is my business. It has nothing to do with others. Leave it to the three of them. Otherwise, I will immediately self-destruct Jianling's primordial spirit. At that time, none of you will be able to get Jianling's primordial spirit. Self-destruct Jianling's primordial spirit? Hearing Long Ao's words, everyone was shocked. They all stared at Xing Kun, afraid that Xing Kun wouldn't agree. If Long Ao really chose to self-destruct Xialing's primordial spirit, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Long Ao, are you threatening me? So, what if I'm threatening you? As soon as his voice fell, Long Ao's figure suddenly appeared beside the three people. He looked at Xing Kun face to face with an indifferent face. It was as if the 150 people standing in front of him were not Nirvana Realm martial artists, but Hotian Realm martial artists. Just like that, no one dared to move. Long Ao and Xing Kun stared at each other. Long Ao didn't move, and neither did Xing Kun. Time seemed to have stopped. Xing Kun, let the three of them go. Long Ao is right. This has nothing to do with anything else. We just want Long Ao. Among the people present, Jian Tian and the others didn't attack. They didn't help Long Ao, nor did they attack Long Ao. It would be a lie to say that they didn't want Jianling's primordial spirit. However, Jian Tian and the others couldn't attack Long Ao in order to use Jianling's primordial spirit. Because of that, Long Ao didn't blame Jian Tian and the others. As long as Jian Tian and the others didn't attack, they were already helping him. Xing Kun waved his hand. Although he didn't say anything, he had already made his intentions clear. Master, let's go. Long Ao's voice revealed an unquestionable tone. The three of them gritted their teeth. In the end, the three of them left quickly. After a while, the three of them had completely disappeared without a trace. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Long Ao and Xing Kun's eyes emitted an unparalleled fighting spirit. Everyone around them slowly retreated because they already knew that Longao had chosen Xing Kuan, and Xing Kuan had chosen Longao. Brother Lu, this is a little tricky. Yes, I didn't expect these people to come so quickly. Lu Yi didn't attack because it was completely irrational to do so at this time. As for Jian Tian and the others, they didn't look too good because they had already decided that they wouldn't attack Longao for Jianling's primordial spirit. However, they wouldn't help Longao either because if they chose to help Longao at this time, they would become enemies with everyone in the world. For the sect, Jian Tian and the others ultimately chose to remain neutral and only hoped to leave smoothly. At the same time, a terrifying fighting spirit suddenly erupted from the two of them. Chapter 1647. In everyone's eyes, Longao was simply courting death. The gap between an emperor god and a nirvana rebirth expert was too big. They were not on the same level. In the next moment, Longao and Xing Kuan went their separate ways. Before they arrived, their bodies had already exploded with terrifying auras. They clashed violently with each other, causing their auras to become chaotic. They did not use their reincarnation doppelganger. Longao was not a fool. At this moment, everyone was eyeing him covetously. If someone were to stab him in the back, wouldn't he be in a passive position? Because of this, his reincarnation doppelganger stood at the side and stared at everyone. The gap between their realms was too big. In less than 20 moves, Longao was already at a disadvantage. At this rate, Longao would definitely lose. Was this it? Longao certainly did not want to die here. The only way now was to break through. After entering the life and death secret realm, he had already stabilized his realm. He only needed 3 months to break through. However, he did not expect that all the Nirvana realm warriors in the world would come. In the end, Longao was hit by Xing Kuan's palm. His body did not move an inch, which shocked everyone. Longao's physical defense was too terrifying. Xing Kuan's cultivation had already reached the pinnacle of Nirvana rebirth. The power of his palm strike was terrifying. Even Nirvana or Nirvana rebirth experts wouldn't dare to take it head-on, let alone God Emperors. Xing Kuan, thank you. Thank you? What did this mean? Could it be that water entered Longao's brain after he was beaten? Everyone was a little dumbfounded. They did not know what was going on with Longao. Jian Tian and the rest shook their heads helplessly. Even if they were helpless, they could only choose to give up under such circumstances. If he helped Longao, he would invite disaster upon himself. If it was an ordinary enemy, then the sword sect and the other sects would naturally not be afraid. However, if they were facing the entire world, and especially all the rebirth realm cultivators, then even Jian Tian and the others didn't dare casually offend them. Not good. Xing Kuan seemed to have understood what he meant. His face instantly turned cold and unsightly. If Longao wanted to break through at this time, he would not be able to do it casually. But Xing Kuan's palm just happened to help Longao. The power in his body suddenly started to spin. It spun crazily and made a 180-degree turn. Right at this moment, Longao suddenly sensed the surrounding heaven and earth energy crazily surging into his body at a terrifying speed. In just a few minutes, he had successfully sensed the heaven and earth. In other words, at that moment, Longao had successfully broken through the peak Emperor God realm and reached the Nirvana realm, which was the first level of the Nirvana realm. Longao had a breakthrough. Breakthrough in the middle of a battle? Sensing the changes in Longao's body, everyone was completely dumbfounded. No one had thought that Longao's battle with Xing Kuan would actually not use his full strength against such a supreme expert, but instead use Xing Kuan to break through. Madness. It was too crazy. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed it. Such a situation was a little unbelievable. Longao, even if you broke through to the Nirvana realm, do you really think you can fight with me? He was furious. Xing Kuan also did not think that Longao would dare to use his power to break through to the Nirvana realm under such circumstances. Otherwise, he would not be like this at all. He was simply regretting it to the extreme. But even so, What could he do? Even if Longao broke through to the Nirvana realm, he would still be unable to withstand a single blow in front of him. In Xing Kuan's eyes, there was no difference between a martial artist who had sensed the heaven and earth and an emperor god. The Azura domain was released crazily. If it was an ordinary martial artist who had sensed the heaven and earth, he believed that he would not be able to contend against the Azura domain. Only Longao, with the Samsara sword in his hand, could completely break the Azura domain. In other words, it was almost impossible for Xing Kuan to use the power of the domain to suppress Longao. Although he had broken through to the Nirvana realm, it had not stabilized. Longao was very clear that choosing to fight with Xing Kuan at this time was not a wise move. Aoshua had successfully entered the Dragon Seal space. At this time, he was thinking of all kinds of ways to leave. Xing Kuan's body was already close to him. Longao would not be so stupid as to meet force with force. With the help of spatial teleportation, his figure flickered back and forth, striking out a palm at the most inattentive moment. The sky was filled with palm shadows. Longao's figure was everywhere. His speed was too fast. Even Xing Kuan was unable to grasp Longao's position. In this way, even with Xing Kuan's strength, he was very passive. Everyone in the surroundings was amazed by Longao's strength and courage. Everyone, we came here mainly for the Jianling primordial spirit in Longao's hands, not to watch the two of them perform. Let's all attack together. As I said earlier, the fight for the Jianling primordial spirit will depend on our own ability. Let's attack together. Thousand Beasts' old ancestor could no longer wait. He was afraid that an accident might happen. If by any chance Longao ran away, as long as Longao could endure the loneliness, it would not be easy to find traces of Longao in the vast sea of people. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How could everyone around choose to give up so easily? Swarming forward, except for the Sword Sect and Purple Thunder Sect, more than 100 Nirvana realm cultivators began to attack Longao. There were people all around. Even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would not be able to escape successfully. Retreat. Longao wasn't a reckless person. It was impossible for him to clash head-on with so many Nirvana realm cultivators. But at this moment, the Violet Thunder ancestor suddenly roared. He brought all the Nirvana realm cultivators of the Violet Thunder sect and forcibly appeared in front of Longao. Violet Thunder, what do you mean by this? The countenance of the Myriad Beasts ancestor turned extremely ugly. Because of the sudden interference of the Violet Lightning sect, things had become extremely complicated and troublesome. No matter what, the strength of the Violet Lightning sect and Violet Thunder sect was clear for all to see. If the Violet Lightning sect insisted on interfering in this matter, he was afraid that, upon seeing Violet Thunder's sudden action, Jian Tian brought the members of the Sword sect to Longao's side. Not only that, those from the Wanzhan school and 5 Elements sect also came to Longao's side. A total of 10 great sects chose to stand on Longao's side. Just like that, the situation became extremely tense. Everyone, not waiting for Longao to speak, Violet Thunder laughed. Brother Long, you and I feel like old friends at our first meeting. Even if they want to rely on their numbers, they can forget about getting past us. Dealing with you is equivalent to dealing with my Violet Thunder sect. I, Violet Thunder, want to see who dares to touch a single strand of hair on your head today. Brother Violet Thunder is right. My Sword sect also chooses to stand on your side. It would be a lie if he said he didn't dare to make a move. After all the Nirvana realm cultivators in the world were here. Helping him was equivalent to offending all of them. Longao clenched his fists tightly. Chapter 1648. They looked at each other. Myriad Beasts' ancestor and the rest never expected that Jian Tian, Zilei, and the rest would suddenly side with Longao and help Longao. Helping Longao in this kind of situation was completely finding trouble for himself. Jian Tian, 5 Elements ancestor, Zilei, Myriad Formation ancestor, do you really want to be enemies with the world? The world? The four of them cursed Myriad Beast's ancestor in their hearts. How could they not know what Myriad Beast's ancestor meant? The Myriad Beast's ancestor wanted to borrow the hands of everyone in the world to kill Longao. Despicable and shameless. In fact, it was extremely shameless. Zile smiled and said, I don't object to you guys going against Longao, but it has to be one-on-one. One-on-one? Hearing Zile's words, everyone laughed. Their laughter could not hide their ridicule and disdain. Even if Longao had made a breakthrough in the battle and successfully reached the Nirvana realm, he had just made a breakthrough and had yet to consolidate his foundation. Everyone present was a Nirvana martial artist. Any one of them that casually came out was not someone that Longao could contend with. Death was the only way out. Would Longao dare to accept a one-on-one? Myriad Beast's ancestor was not angry at all. Instead, he asked with a smile, Longao, do you dare to accept a one-on-one? Why wouldn't I? Since things had already come to this point, this was the best way to go about it. Myriad Beast's ancestor looked at Xing Kun beside him and said with a smile, Brother Xing, I think you should do it. Xing Kun was the strongest among them. Even Myriad Beast's ancestor could not compete with Xing Kun. As for Lu Yi, although her strength was above Myriad Beast's ancestor, it was still unknown whether she could be stronger than Xing Kun. Xing Kun's strength was there for all to see. However, Xing Kun shook his head at this moment. No one was a fool. If they chose to go head-to-head with Longao, what would they do if they failed miserably? If it was an ordinary person who had comprehended the heaven and earth, not to mention Xing Kun, even the others would not care. After all, a person who had just comprehended the heaven and earth did not have much strength. Only Longao was a variable. The Longao was too unpredictable. Many people had fallen into the hands of the Longao. Especially in this situation, Xing Kun did not want to be used by others. There are an entire 100+ rebirth realm cultivators present, so why did he just have to choose me? Grass. Myriad Beast's ancestor, please do as you please. Everyone had their own agenda. Xing Kun was unwilling, and the Myriad Beast's ancestor was naturally unwilling as well. However, at this moment, the primordial Qilin, who had been silent all this while, suddenly said, Everyone, let me do it. Seeing the primordial Qilin walk out, everyone was shocked. Among the divine beasts, the primordial Qilin, the primordial phoenix, and the primordial divine dragon were known as the three great primordial divine beasts. Not only were they powerful, but they also represented the top of the divine beasts. Following the fall of the primordial phoenix, the primordial Qilin, and the primordial divine dragon dominated the entire divine beast world. The primordial divine dragon and the primordial Qilin's cultivation had reached the Nirvana rebirth realm, and their strength was comparable to Jiantian and the rest. Among the three great primordial divine beasts, the most mysterious one was the primordial Qilin. This was because no one had seen the primordial Qilin in action for the past 10,000 years. Everyone retreated, including Jiantian and the rest. Jiantian knew clearly that this was the best way. This was the only way Longao would have a chance to leave Phoenix Peak safely. Shortly after, only Longao and the primordial Qilin were left in the central area. They looked at each other, and the surroundings were silent. Longao, I have to admit that your growth rate has surprised me. Until now, the primordial Qilin was still in a daze. A few years ago, in his eyes, Longao was still a trash that could be slaughtered by others. As long as he was willing, he could kill Longao at any time, but now, in just a few years, Longao had reached the Nirvana realm. Although it was only to comprehend the heaven and earth, if it had not seen it with its own eyes, it would have been hard to believe that such talent could appear in a human being. Moreover, he was not one of the top 10. Primordial Qilin, thank you so much. Longao, as long as you hand over Jianling's primordial spirit, I can promise you that no one will be able to hurt you today. Longao did not doubt the primordial Qilin's promise at all. No one had any objections. No matter what, other than the Wanshou sect, the Martial Artists Alliance, and the Long family, no one was willing to provoke Longao. If it was not for Jianling's primordial spirit, no one would have come. If Longao could really hand over Jianling's primordial spirit, they believed that no one would be willing to go against Longao. As for the Wanshou ancestor Long Tian and the others, even if they could not kill Longao, there would be a next time and a time after that. After all, no one was willing to provoke the primordial Qilin for Longao. Longao, what do you think? Longao looked coldly at everyone in front of him, including the primordial Qilin. All of a sudden, Longao gently carried Bai Ling's body out of the dragon seal space, his eyes extremely gentle. Could this be Jianling's primordial spirit? This time, no one doubted it, including Xing Kuan and the Wanshou ancestor. They could clearly sense that the girl in white in Longao's arms was their target this time, the so-called starry sky Jianling's primordial spirit. Greed. Greed was written all over everyone's face, because they knew very well that as long as they could devour the Jianling's primordial spirit in Longao's arms, they could reach the peak realm of the martial Dao. The peak realm of the martial Dao was a realm that every martial artist dreamed of reaching. Even people like Xing Kuan could not wait to devour Jianling's primordial spirit. Longao, a wise man, submits to circumstances. You are really smart. Hand over Jianling's primordial spirit in your arms to me, and you can leave safely now. As for the feud between you and the three major forces, I will do my best to help you. Hearing the primordial Qilin's words, the Wanshou ancestor, Long Tian, and Tong Zun's faces turned extremely ugly. However, the three of them did not speak because they wanted to deal with Longao. Even if the primordial Qilin and Lu Yi joined forces, they might not be able to stop them. What a joke! Longao must die. Otherwise, once the tiger returns to the mountain, there would be endless trouble in the future. It was not easy for the Wanshou ancestor to kill someone with a borrowed knife this time. How could he choose to give up so easily? Qilin, aren't you looking down on the three major forces? Longao handing over Jianling's primordial spirit is a matter that we all share. As for the feud between Longao and us, you don't seem to have the right to interfere. Who do you think you are? Are you the heavenly Dao? Are you the oracle? What a joke, a big joke. The Wanshou ancestor's meaning was very clear. Even if Longao handed over Jianling's primordial spirit, he would not let Longao go. Chapter 1649. He was furious. Hearing the words of the myriad beasts' ancestor, many people around were furious. If they forced Longao into a corner and Longao chose to self-destruct, no one would be able to get Jianling's primordial spirit then. However, the strength of the myriad beasts' ancestor was there for all to see. So many people dared not speak out. At this moment, Longao suddenly smiled. Why was Longao smiling? Looking at the smiling Longao, many people's hearts skipped a beat for some reason, because Longao's smile was very strange. Could it be that Longao still wanted to play some tricks? Jianling's primordial spirit, which was at the peak of martial arts, was something that even Longao would not be willing to give up easily. If it were the Longao of the past, Jianling's primordial spirit might not be that far away, but the current Longao situation was completely different. However, Longao's cultivation had already successfully broken through to comprehend heaven and earth. Even if he devoured Jianling's primordial spirit now, they believed that he would be able to reach the starry sky realm, which was the so-called peak of martial arts, as long as he had enough time. What did that mean? Once he reached the peak of martial arts, he would be able to look down on the world. The Jianling's primordial spirit that you want is called Bai Ling F***CK. Everyone was cursing in their hearts. It was none of their business what the Jianling's primordial spirit was called. All they wanted was Jianling's primordial spirit. However, under such circumstances, no one spoke. Everyone looked at Longao, waiting to hear what Longao had to say next. Bai Ling is my wife, my most beloved wife. You want to take my wife away? Humph. At this point, Longao did not continue to speak, but the meaning in his words was already very clear. Primordial Qilin, in today's battle, life or death will be decided. Just as he finished speaking, Bai Ling, who was in Longao's arms, suddenly disappeared. Everyone around did not move, because as long as Longao was there, then Jianling's primordial spirit was there. As long as Jianling's primordial spirit was there, then their mission had not failed. Wife. Everyone disagreed. So, what if Bai Ling is your wife? Everyone had come to Phoenix Peak this time to find Jianling's primordial spirit. Therefore, no matter where Bai Ling came from or whose wife she was, they were determined to find her. Longao, fight. This time, Longao didn't say anything. The samsara sword appeared in his hand because Longao knew his own strength very well. If he didn't use the samsara sword, he wouldn't be able to contend against the primordial Qilin's domain of heaven and earth. Whoosh, whoosh. Both of their speeds soared to the extreme. What did they want to do? Looking at the two of them, who were like two bison, fiercely colliding with each other, everyone was a little surprised and didn't know what they wanted to do. In fact, the battle between Nirvana Realm warriors was not so fancy. It was more of an invisible battle. In the next second, everyone already knew what Longao and the primordial Qilin wanted to do. In the blink of an eye, Longao and the primordial Qilin's bodies fiercely collided. Under normal circumstances, given Longao's realm, his defensive power was definitely not as good as the primordial Qilin's. Moreover, the primordial Qilin was a divine beast and naturally had an advantage over human warriors, especially in terms of physical defensive power. The result? Both of them took 3 steps back. Longao, your defense is really strong. If my guess is correct, you should have already refined the black tortoise armor and have already refined it and merged it into your body. Longao didn't say anything, which meant that he agreed. The black tortoise armor? Hearing the primordial Qilin's words, everyone around was shocked, and the greed on their faces became more intense. Although the black tortoise armor wasn't as strong as Jianling's primordial spirit, to all warriors, the black tortoise armor was a life-saving weapon. The black tortoise armor was refined from the black tortoise. As for the black tortoise, it was known as the existence with the strongest defensive power among all the divine beasts. Over the years, there were warriors who killed the black tortoise, but there was no one who was able to refine the black tortoise into the black tortoise armor. Who wouldn't be jealous of such a black tortoise armor? Longao was only an emperor god warrior, but he was able to use the black tortoise armor to resist the attack of a Nirvana rebirth warrior. Everyone knew what this meant. Longao had a lot of treasures on him. Because of this, everyone finally understood why Longao chose to go head-to-head with the primordial Qilin. It turned out that he had the black tortoise armor. Kill Longao and take away the black tortoise armor. The primordial Qilin was very clear that Longao had already integrated with the black tortoise armor. Just in terms of physical defense, even it wasn't a match for Longao. Therefore, there was no point in going head-to-head with him. It could only stall for time. With so many people watching, it absolutely couldn't embarrass itself. Therefore, this battle had to be ended quickly. The primordial Qilin's figure suddenly split into 2, then 4, then 8. 8 primordial Qilins appeared at the same time and attacked Longao from 8 different directions. Phantom was the primordial Qilin's strongest killing move. No one expected the primordial Qilin to use Phantom as soon as it came up. It seemed like Longao's strength wasn't simple. If it was someone else, they really wouldn't be able to block the primordial Qilin's Phantom secret technique. However, Longao wasn't afraid. You have 8 Phantoms, but I have spatial teleportation. Under constant teleportation, even if the primordial Qilin used Phantom, the 8 Phantoms still wouldn't be able to hit Longao. This made the primordial Qilin extremely depressed. A spatial divine artifact was too powerful. The more Longao acted like this, the more greedy everyone became. They could wait to get their hands on this spatial divine artifact in Longao's hands. With this spatial divine artifact, no matter what kind of enemy they encountered, wouldn't they be invincible? Not to mention others, even the primordial Qilin was shocked to see that Longao's spatial divine artifact could ignore its Phantom secret technique. Its heart was filled with greed. If there was a chance, the primordial Qilin wouldn't show the slightest mercy. Not only would it kill Longao, but it would also take away all the treasures in Longao's body, including Jianling's primordial spirit. But even so, the primordial Qilin certainly wouldn't put Longao in its eyes. In its opinion, Longao had just broken through to the Nirvana Rebirth realm. If he could reach the Nirvana Rebirth realm, then there was no need to continue this battle. It had already lost. Longao, I'll let you experience my Qilin clan's Surekill skill, Space Kill. Qilin's Surekill skill, Space Kill. Hearing that the primordial Qilin was about to use its Surekill skill, everyone was shocked. The biggest reason why the primordial Qilin could have its current achievements was because of its Surekill skill. Because of this Surekill skill, many people couldn't resist it. Even martial artists of the same level were very afraid of this skill. Qilin's Surekill skill, Space Kill. Under the powerful aura released by the primordial Qilin, Longao found that the space around him was completely confined, and there was a rapid flow. Chapter 1650. Innate Ability, Dragon Roar. When the dragon roar sounded, the flow of space in the surroundings also changed rapidly. Longao knew very well that the space kill released by the immemorial Qilin was much more powerful than the innate ability. Seeing Longao release the innate ability with his own eyes, Long Tian's face was very gloomy. In the entire Long family, other than him, only Longao could reproduce the innate ability, Dragon Roar. Long Tian was very regretful. Longao was also a disciple of the Long family, so the outcome would be different. Space collided fiercely. Longao was shrouded by the space aura and even imprisoned. Just after the collision, Longao's innate ability was already at a disadvantage. Surekill technique, Space Kill. There was no other choice. Longao used his time kill technique and directly changed the flow of time. Time was above space. In this world, someone might be able to obtain a space artifact and cultivate a space martial technique. Only time. For so many years, no one had obtained a time artifact, let alone someone who could cultivate a time martial technique. Moreover, it was Longao's time kill technique. Time martial technique. Exclamations came from all around. Longao's change made everyone turn pale with fright. Space artifact, Jianling's primordial spirit, time martial technique, divine sword that could break the domain of heaven and earth. Any one of these could cause everyone to fight until their heads bled. The immemorial Qilin realized that its speed had slowed down, and Longao's speed was getting faster and faster. What was going on? The immemorial Qilin sensed that Longao's time martial technique was actually a time martial technique, and it was shocked. Space kill technique collided with time kill technique. If it wasn't for the huge gap between the two of them, Longao's time kill technique would be able to suppress the space kill technique released by the immemorial Qilin. The immemorial Qilin punched out with both fists and directly broke the flow of time. There was no surprise. Through this battle, Longao was almost certain that even if the primordial Qilin's strength was inferior to Xingquan's, he believed that it was about the same. The difference between their realms was too great. Even if he had a Surekill skill, it would be difficult for him to defeat the primordial Qilin unless he could continuously make breakthroughs in his cultivation and reach the Nirvana stage. He transformed into his true form. The gigantic Qilin blotted out the sky. The ancient Qilin was also a bit anxious. It had already exchanged 30 blows, and it still hadn't defeated Longao. The surrounding people gradually revealed looks of disdain. The dignified ancestor of the Qilin clan, a divine beast that underwent Nirvana rebirth, was unable to even deal with a martial artist that had just broken through to the Nirvana realm. There was a huge difference in strength between the main body and the human body. At this moment, the immemorial Qilin's strength had increased by a full 10%. It was completely capable of contending with the myriad beast's ancestor and could be considered an existence of the same level. Covering the sky and covering the sun, a terrifying aura enveloped Longao. He kept retreating. Longao looked at the huge divine beasts that had appeared above his head with a grave expression. He would rather face a super expert like Xing Kuan than divine beasts like the primordial Qilin and primordial divine dragon. The existence of two concepts. In particular, the ancient Qilin had transformed into his true form. In addition to the increase in strength, the aura it possessed had also soared to the extreme. Even if it was him, it would be difficult to resist the attack of the ancient Qilin. 9 Needles of God. Since the last time he was counterattacked by the 9 Needles of God, Longao had rarely used the 9 Needles of God. Unless it was a last resort, otherwise, once he was counterattacked, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. The current situation was very critical. It could be said that there was a slim chance of survival. His cultivation had successfully broken through to the heaven and earth realm, but the realm gap was still too big. If he used the 9 Needles of God, Longao had full confidence that his cultivation could directly improve from the heaven and earth realm to the heaven cycle reproduction in the shortest time. Although it would only last for a few dozen minutes, the chances of survival would be greatly increased. He had no choice but to use the 9 Needles of God. What was Longao doing? Seeing Longao suddenly take out 9 needles and insert them into various parts of his body, the surrounding people were a little curious. Was Longao going to commit suicide? 9 Needles of God. Longao's aura suddenly erupted. From the heaven and earth realm at the beginning, it directly soared to the heaven cycle reproduction. Sensing the rapid breakthrough of Longao's aura, everyone was a little dumbfounded. Could it be that Longao had broken through again? Impossible. Completely impossible. Even if Longao's talent was amazing, it was impossible for him to directly jump 2 levels and reach the so-called heaven cycle reproduction after just breaking through to the heaven cycle reproduction after comprehending the heaven and earth realm. Secret skill. Everyone was certain that Longao must have used some kind of secret skill. Otherwise, it would be impossible for it to be like this. In just a few seconds, Longao's cultivation had soared from the heaven and earth realm directly to the heaven cycle reproduction. Even so, Longao still didn't have full confidence because of the strength of the ancient Qilin. He didn't dare to have the slightest hesitation. Longao took a big stride forward, his body already dashed out, facing each other in the void. Both of them moved. The ancient Qilin was still constantly using the space kill. The surrounding space fluctuated more and more intensely. Even if his strength had soared, Longao still didn't dare to meet force with force, because the ancient Qilin's space kill was too powerful. The slightest carelessness would probably lead to eternal damnation. After Longao opened the reincarnation heavenly eye, a third eye suddenly appeared on his forehead, shooting out rays of light. One had to admit that the reincarnation heavenly eye's power was too terrifying. After Longao's strength had increased, he directly used the reincarnation heavenly eye to break through the ancient Qilin's space kill. This time, the ancient Qilin was dumbfounded. Everyone was dumbfounded, looking at Longao who was in the void. Was this real? Longao was overjoyed. Just now, he was just trying his luck, but he didn't expect that his reincarnation heavenly eye could really break through the ancient Qilin's space kill, taking advantage of its weakness to kill it. Longao didn't give up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because the ancient Qilin's space kill had been broken, he believed that the ancient Qilin would be in a state of shock, and its state of mind would also change. Silent extinction, divine bow. Longao's cultivation had been forcefully raised to the heaven-multiplying realm. Even if he couldn't fully draw the silent extinction divine bow, he believed that drawing half of it would be more than enough. Whether or not he could kill the ancient Qilin depended on this move. The silent extinction divine bow appeared in Longao's hand, but before Longao could make a move, a terrifying aura suddenly came from behind him. Before he could react, a terrifying power had already come from behind him. His body flew backwards. At this moment, the ancient Qilin was overjoyed. It immediately punched out with both of its fists, one punch after another. The person who suddenly attacked from behind was Lu Yi, because he and the ancient Qilin had reached an agreement, especially at this moment. Chapter 1651. Struggling to get up from the ground, Longao's face was extremely pale. He had never expected that Lu Yi would suddenly attack at this time. Both the primordial Qilin and Lu Yi were Nirvana Rebirth martial artists, and their strength was definitely at the top of the continent. This was also Longao's defensive power. If it were anyone else, they would have died long ago. Longao, hand over Jianling's primordial spirit, and you can leave. Since things had already come to this, Lu Yi would definitely not hold back. Everyone cursed in their hearts. Lu Yi was shameless to the extreme. As the patriarch of the Phoenix clan, she actually attacked from behind. She had lost all face. No one dared to say anything. Longao, a wise man, submits to circumstances. Don't be stubborn. Primordial Qilin and Lu Yi stared at the young man in front of them. If it was not a last resort, the two of them would not be willing to attack, let alone sneak an attack from behind. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. At this time, Longao suddenly laughed. Lu Yi, I will definitely repay today's hatred double in the future. Lu Yi shook her head and did not take Longao seriously. Even if Longao's talent was strong, it would take at least 30 to 50 years to comprehend the Nirvana rebirth from heaven and earth. Lu Yi, primordial Qilin, hurry up. We don't have time to wait for you to dawdle here. Lu Yi glanced at Xing Kuan coldly and snorted. Xing Kuan, who do you think you are? Do you want to repeat the same mistake and die again? You. Xing Kuan, who was already furious, forcefully endured it because he knew very well that choosing to fall out with Lu Yi at this time was really an unwise move. When the time came and others took advantage of the situation, he would really go for wool and come home shorn. He suppressed it. Xing Kuan was unhappy, and Myriad Beast's ancestor and the others did not say anything. No matter what, Longao was dead. As for Jianling's primordial spirit, it was really unknown who would get it. The main event was yet to come. The most important thing was to preserve their strength. When the battle started, who would win and who would lose would depend on luck. Looking at the primordial Qilin and the willow leaf, Longao knew very well that it would not be easy for him to leave Phoenix Peak this time. Master, I have a way to help you. What is it? Just as Longao was at his wit's end and did not know what to do, Long Fu's voice suddenly sounded. Longao was overjoyed and asked impatiently. The current situation could be said to be hanging by a thread. Not only could he not enter the Dragon Seal, he could not even leave the Phoenix Peak. There was only one final outcome, and that was certain death. Master, the current Dragon Seal no longer needs to use all of its power to seal the blood pool. Therefore, I can transfer my power to you temporarily. However, it will cause harm to your body. Doesn't matter. If it were any other time, Longao would definitely not choose to use the power of the Dragon Seal. However, the current situation was somewhat special. If he did not use the power of the Dragon Seal, it would be very difficult for him to leave this place. If he couldn't even save his life, why would he be afraid of a backlash? Master, you have now used the 9 Needles Divine Seal and raised your cultivation from comprehending the heaven and earth to multiplying the heavens. With the power of the Dragon Seal, I believe you can reach the peak of the Nirvana realm. However, with master strength, it is more than enough. He nodded. Longao was very confident in himself. Even if he could only reach the Nirvana realm, he would be able to fight against a Nirvana Rebirth cultivator. In the next second, Longao suddenly felt a terrifying power surge into his body. In just a few seconds, Longao's cultivation had broken through from multiplying the heavens to the Nirvana realm. First, it was the 9 Needles Divine Seal. Then, he forcefully used the power of the Dragon Seal. Longao was already clear about the consequences. Nirvana realm? Sensing that Longao's cultivation had increased once again, everyone in the surroundings was simply shocked to the extreme because they really couldn't understand why Longao's realm was able to break through again and again. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, it would be hard to believe. Longao. Without waiting for the primordial Qilin to speak any more nonsense, Longao chose to take the initiative this time. Longao knew very well that whether it was the Nine Needles' divine seal or the dragon seal, the borrowed power could not be maintained for long. He had to end the battle quickly. Otherwise, once the power disappeared, the consequences would be unimaginable. End the battle quickly. After Longao slashed out with his sword, he directly pulled the Nirvana divine bow in his hand. With the increase in his cultivation, the power of the Nirvana divine bow could not be compared. Not good, retreat quickly. Sensing that the broken bow in Longao's hand was actually able to release such a terrifying aura, everyone was shocked. Lu Yi immediately retreated to the back with a not good sound. Not only Lu Yi and the primordial Qilin, but everyone around also retreated. The speed of a Nirvana realm martial artist was too fast. Wherever the arrow light released by the silent divine bow passed by, not even a blade of grass would grow. If it wasn't for the fact that Longao's cultivation had yet to break through the Nirvana realm, the power of the silent divine bow alone would be enough to kill everyone. The opportunity had come. The power of the Nirvana divine bow directly destroyed the spatial fluctuations, causing everyone around to feel that the spatial fluctuations had disappeared. In other words, Longao could enter the dragon seal space at this time. With a swoosh, Longao's body suddenly disappeared. His aura returned to normal. Everyone around had a gloomy face. Looking at the young man who had disappeared in front of them, everyone felt helpless. They had already calculated it, but in the end, Longao still escaped. Man proposes, God disposes. Lu Yi, primordial Qilin, Longao has successfully escaped. The two of you have something that cannot be delayed. If you don't explain clearly, humph. Although the myriad beast's ancestor did not speak, the meaning of his words was very clear. In everyone's view, Lu Yi and the primordial Qilin might have joined forces to let Longao go. In the vast sea of people, wanting to find Longao was like looking for a needle in a haystack unless Longao personally appeared. No one cared whether Longao was dead or not. Everyone only cared about one thing, and that was Jianling's primordial spirit in Longao's hands, as well as various treasures and martial techniques. Jian Tian and the others were very happy. Since Longao was fine, there was not much point in staying. Jian Tian and the others turned and left. In a short while, all the Nirvana realm cultivators of the four major forces had disappeared without a trace. Lu Yi sneered and said coldly, "Myriad beast's ancestor, you can't talk nonsense. Just now, none of you were willing to take action. I helped everyone deal with Longao. Now that Longao has escaped, are you going to blame me? You are really shameless." In fact, everyone knew very well that this matter was not Lu Yi's fault. Chapter 1652. One by one, they turned around and left quickly. Seeing that everyone had left, the Thousand Beasts' ancestor had no choice but to leave. In less than a few seconds, only Lu Yi, the primordial Qilin, and the 13 elders were left in the entire Phoenix Peak. "Brother Lu, we'll be in trouble if Longao leaves this time." The primordial Qilin knew Longao's character very well. Lu Yi shrugged helplessly and didn't say anything. In the dragon seal space, Longao's face was extremely pale and his body was on the verge of collapsing. If not for Xiling supporting him, Longao would have collapsed. The double backlash of the Nine Needles God sealing technique and the dragon seal was like the sea, fiercely hitting Longao. Especially Longao's realm hadn't been completely stabilized. Under the impact, Longao's life was in danger. "Long Fu, what should we do?" Purple Spirit was also at a loss of what to do. Long Fu's face was very solemn. He shook his head and said, "Master is in trouble this time. I need to think carefully. If I'm not careful, Master will be doomed eternally." At this moment, let me see. Long Fu and Xiling looked at each other. If it was someone else, they would be worried. However, they knew that Lu Ying would definitely not harm Longao. Lu Ying, Aoshua's mother, was also Longao's mother-in-law. How could a mother-in-law harm her son-in-law? Luing came in front of Longao and checked for a while. She said helplessly, Longao, you were too reckless this time. Auntie, I'm fine. Luing smiled. Luing took out a lotus from her arms. It was the lotus that Aoshue was sitting on. Longao, this lotus is the treasure of my Phoenix clan. It was originally left for Aoshue. However, since you need it now, I'll give it to you. According to my speculation, if nothing goes wrong, once you swallow the lotus and successfully refine it, your realm will not only be stabilized, but it will also be improved. This is the blood-nascent lotus? Xiling exclaimed when he saw the blood-nascent lotus in Lu Ying's hand. Auntie, this. Without waiting for Longao to speak, Lu Ying continued, it is the blood-nascent lotus. If you do not want Aoshue to worry, immediately consume the blood-nascent lotus. If you suffer a backlash, think of Aoshue. Aoshue. Looking at the Aoshue lying on the bed not far away, Longao hesitated. On the left was Bai Ling, and on the right was Aoshue. Both of them were his confidants, so he couldn't let anything happen to either of them. Just as Luing had said, if he were to suffer a backlash and lose his life, what would happen to his family and loved ones? No matter what, he could not die. Thank you, Auntie. Go. Luing seemed to be very tired. No matter what, the Phoenix clan was her clan. After this incident, Longao and the Phoenix clan had become mortal enemies. Longao, do you know what the blood-nascent lotus is? Auntie just said that the blood-nascent lotus is the most precious treasure of the Phoenix clan. If I can consume it, not only will I be able to completely stabilize my understanding of heaven and earth, but I will also be able to reach a higher level. How could Longao not know what it meant to reach a higher level? Now that he had successfully broken through and comprehended heaven and earth, it would be impossible for him to stabilize his realm without a few months' time, let alone continue to break through. If he could consume the blood-nascent lotus, not only would he be able to stabilize his realm, but he could also continue to break through and reach the unity of heaven and man, which was above comprehending heaven and earth. The 5 nirvana realms were divided into the following stages: comprehending heaven and earth, unity of heaven and man, cycle multiplication, nirvana, and nirvana rebirth. Once his cultivation broke through the unity of heaven and man, he would be able to condense his own heaven and earth domain. Within the heaven and earth domain, he would be the ruler, unless he encountered the reincarnation sword. Longao, I have already sensed the blood-nascent lotus in your hand. It is hard to imagine that such a small Tianwu continent would have such a treasure. If it wasn't for your critical situation, I would not recommend you to consume the blood-nascent lotus now. What did he mean? Violet Spirit continued. When your cultivation base breaks through the nirvanic rebirth stage and reaches the pinnacle of the nirvanic rebirth stage, when you consume the blood-nascent lotus, with my help, I can tell you with 100% certainty that you will be able to reproduce your own power source. So that's how it is. Shrugging his shoulders helplessly, Longao smiled and said, You have already said that if there is no backlash, I will not consume the blood-nascent lotus and will give it to Aoshue. However, I cannot die. Nothing can happen to me. I must immediately consume the blood-nascent lotus. Xiling, if there is anything you want to say, just say it. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that Xiling was implying something. Could it be that there was something fishy about the blood-nascent lotus? Longao, since that is the case, I won't be polite. To tell you the truth, the blood-nascent lotus in your hand is too powerful. At most, you will be able to consume 1/10 of it. The remaining 90% will be wasted. Don't be afraid. Even if you only consume 1/10 of it, it will be enough for you to break through the unity of heaven and man and completely stabilize your realm. So that's what it was. Longao naturally wouldn't waste the remaining energy. He asked, Do you need the blood-nascent lotus's energy? Nodding, Xiling said, The blood-nascent lotus is rarely seen even in 10,000 years. It is the best tonic for us Jianling and item spirits. I can guarantee that if my sister and I each consume half of the remaining energy, It will be greatly beneficial to our recovery. Thinking about it, Xiling continued, with my sister's injuries, if we can consume the blood-nascent lotus this time, I believe that we will be able to recover to the heavenly cycle. I understand what you mean. I don't object. What should I do? After that, Longao didn't take a single step out of the dragon seal space. Instead, he sat on the ground and began to consume the blood-nascent lotus. As for the remaining blood-nascent lotus, he gave it to Xiling and Bailing. Whether it was Bailing or Xiling, Longao wouldn't hold back in the slightest. The faster they recovered, the happier Longao was. Longao wished that Xiling and Bailing could immediately recover to their peak state. That way, no one on the martial heaven continent would be able to stop him, not even the god diviner or the heavenly Das. Whether it was Xiling or Bailing, both of them were 9th-rank cultivators in the starry sky. Their strength was above the heavenly Das. As for whether they could contend against the god diviner, it was still unknown. Time slowly passed. Longao swallowed the blood-nascent lotus. In just a few minutes, his body, which had already suffered from the backlash, gradually stabilized. While he was pleasantly surprised, Longao began to use the blood-nascent lotus to stabilize his realm and attempted to break through to a higher level. Chapter 1653. News of the battle at Phoenix Peak had spread throughout the entire Sky Martial continent. Longao's name had spread throughout the continent. He had fought against Xing Kuan, Lu Yi, and the immemorial Qilin alone. He had left under the watchful eyes of more than 100 Nirvana realm martial artists. Other than Longao, who else could have done it? No one had done it before or since. 9 prefectures continent. Dragon Valley. Everyone in Dragon Valley knew about the battle at Phoenix Peak. Although they were excited, they were also worried. No matter what, Longao was still alone. As the saying goes, 2 fists cannot fight against 4 hands. If Longao failed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Dragon Valley, in a pavilion at the back of the mountain. Grandfather, I had decided to leave Dragon Valley immediately and go to Sky Martial Continent to look for Longao. Wang Yuan was worried to the extreme. She had chosen to believe in Longao and stay here obediently. But what was the result? Longao did not make her feel at ease. After the battle at Phoenix Peak, it was unknown whether Longao was still alive. Furthermore, everyone in the continent knew that Longao had Jianling's primordial spirit in his body. They were probably searching for Longao's whereabouts. In Wang Yuan's opinion, with her strength, she could definitely help her lover. Zhou Tian multiplication, even in Sky Martial Continent, was a supreme existence. Long Haoshi and Wang Yidao shook their heads in disagreement. Long Haoshi and Long Ying had chosen to go into seclusion after obtaining the Starry Sky inheritance. However, the battle at Phoenix Peak had alarmed him. As Longao's grandfather, how could Long Haoshi be at ease and continue his seclusion? It would be unrealistic to say that he was not worried about his grandson. However, Long Haoshi was obviously calmer than Yuyin. In Long Haoshi's opinion, even if Yuyin's cultivation had reached Zhou Tian multiplication, she would not be able to help Longao if she chose to go to Sky Martial Continent at this time. She might even implicate his grandson. Yuyin, I know you're worried. However, before Ao ever left, he entrusted you to me. No matter what happens, you are not allowed to leave Dragon Valley. Wang Yidao nodded in agreement and said, Brother Long is right. If something happens to you, how can we explain it to Ao or Grandpa's?
He didn't give Yuyin a chance to speak.
Long Haoshi sighed deeply and said helplessly, Yuyin, we are also very worried about Ao or safety. What can we do? Could it be that if you go, you can really help Ao or? Yuyin didn't say anything. I don't think so. Although your strength is already at the peak of martial arts, there are always people who are better than you. Not to mention others, just the Martial Artists Alliance alone has people who can deal with you. If you are held hostage and used to threaten Ao, have you thought about what we should do? He wanted to retort, but he didn't know how to. How could you not know? Just the thought of facing all the experts in the world alone was terrifying. He could not implicate Brother Long. After thinking about it, Yin chose to give up in the end because she didn't want to implicate Brother Long. If she was held hostage, the consequences would be unimaginable. Grandpa, I know what to do. I hope you can send out spies. I want to know Brother Long's whereabouts at all times. That's not a problem. I have already sent people to inquire about Ao's whereabouts. I believe there will be news soon. Hearing that Yin finally chose to give up, both Wang Yidao and Long Haosher heaved a long sigh of relief. No matter what, Yin's strength was obvious. If Yin insisted on leaving the Dragon Valley and going to the Tianwu continent, no one could stop her. After watching Yin leave, Wang Yidao said with a serious face, Brother Long, I believe you and I are clear about Ao's situation. Even if Ao is lucky to escape this time, what about the next time? Brother Wang, please tell me. The news that Jianling's primordial spirit is in Ao's body has been spread all over the world. Before getting Jianling's primordial spirit, I believe the world will not give up. How could Long Haosher not know this? So what if he knew? He couldn't do anything before refining the Starry Sky inheritance. Even Yin couldn't do anything, let alone him. Brother Long, if they can't find Ao's trace, I can say that many people will set their sights on the Dragon Valley. If someone is controlled and used to threaten Ao, things will be really troublesome. It was definitely possible. Brother Wang, I know what you mean. But I heard from Ao that before the divine mathematician went into seclusion, he sent a message to everyone, telling them not to do anything to the Dragon Valley. Could it be? Wang Yidao shook his head. Wang Yidao said with a firm face, the divine mathematician is in seclusion. Even if someone wants to deal with us, the divine mathematician will only come out 3 years later. By then, we will be finished. Would the divine mathematician be angry because of people who died? Hearing this, Long Haosher's face became gloomy. Because what Wang Yidao said was very reasonable and very likely to happen. He could not implicate his grandson. Brother Wang, it seems that we have to completely seal off the Dragon Valley and activate the power of the Sword Realm. According to Ao, the Sword Realm Aura Shield can only be broken by experts who have reached the pinnacle of the martial way. Otherwise, even a myriad beast's ancestor and Long Tian will not be able to break it. Long Haosher was very confident about this. Back then, the Dragon Valley had relied on the Sword Realm Aura Shield to withstand the attacks of dozens of Nirvana Realm martial artists, including Tongzun, the myriad beast's ancestor, Long Tian, and the primordial divine dragon. If he had not experienced it himself, even he would not believe that the Sword Realm Aura Shield could withstand the attacks of so many Nirvana Realm martial artists. It was unbelievable. Long Haosher was very clear about the seriousness of the matter. He did not dare to hesitate and immediately ordered to completely seal off the Dragon Valley. No one was allowed to enter or leave. Anyone who disobeyed would be expelled from the Dragon Valley. In serious cases, they would be killed without mercy. Everyone in the Dragon Valley already knew about Longao's matter, and they could guess why they had chosen to seal off the Dragon Valley at this time. It was precisely because of this that no one objected to the sealing of the Dragon Valley. In everyone's opinion, since Longao had managed to avoid this calamity, he would definitely rise in the future. At that time, it would not be difficult for the Dragon Valley to become famous. It was just a matter of how long it would take. Longao's position in the Dragon Valley was very high. No one could compare to him. In the hearts of everyone in the Dragon Valley, Longao was simply a god, an omnipotent god. If someone told the Dragon Valley that Longao could kill the heavenly Tao, no one in the Dragon Valley would doubt it. This was Longao. This was Longao's position in the Dragon Valley. Following the sealing of the Dragon Valley, the 9 provinces continent fell silent. Everyone was watching, wanting to see what would happen next. Longao had single-handedly thrown the martial heaven continent into chaos. Furthermore, he had severely affected the unrest. At this moment, Longao had become the idol of many martial artists. Chapter 1654. Longao's successful escape made many people depressed. Thousand Beasts' ancestor, Long Tian, Tongzun, Xingkuan, and the rest were especially so. Not being able to kill Longao this time was simply a failure among failures. In the vast sea of people, as long as Longao was not willing to appear, then even if all 10 sides were to search for Longao's whereabouts, they might not be able to find Longao in the shortest time possible. Everyone had seen Longao's change. In just a few minutes, Longao had broken through consecutively and reached the Nirvana realm. Was this true? Until now, many people were still skeptical. Everyone was very clear that Longao's rapid increase in strength was due to some secret technique. Let's not talk about this first. Just Longao's talent alone was enough to look down on the world. In a short span of a few years, Longao had directly advanced from a trash to a Nirvana realm martial artist. It was simply unprecedented and would never happen again. The greater the change in Longao, the more people wanted Longao dead. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it would grow again. Cut the grass and remove the roots to prevent future troubles. Thousand Beasts Sect. Main Hall. Thousand Beasts' ancestor's face was very gloomy because this battle on Phoenix Peak was planned by him to kill with a borrowed knife. As long as Longao was dead, as for Jianling's primordial spirit, he would think of a way to get it. The result? Even Thousand Beasts' ancestor never thought that Longao would be able to smoothly leave Phoenix Peak under the siege of so many Nirvana realm martial artists. Ancestor, we have already searched the entire Sky Martial Continent, but we still can't find any trace of Longao. Shirchong was also very depressed. This time, they did not succeed in killing Longao. With Longao's personality, he would definitely take revenge. Not to mention the current Longao, even the previous Longao was very difficult to deal with. Longao was no longer a god emperor, but a true Nirvana realm martial artist. Although it was only a difference of one realm, it was two completely different concepts. If Longao chose to take revenge at this time, how would Thousand Beasts Sect deal with it? They could not deal with it. As long as Longao chose to sneak attack, Thousand Beasts Sect would fall into eternal damnation. A miscalculation. Shirchong and Shifeng did not agree with the old ancestor's decision. However, they had no right to change the old ancestor's decision. They could only accept it even if the old ancestor was wrong. Stop searching.
Huh.
Shirchong and Shifeng were dumbfounded when they heard the old ancestor's words, unable to react. The two of them did not know why the old ancestor had suddenly chosen to stop the search. They felt helpless. The Thousand Beasts ancestor realized that this was the first time in 10,000 years that he felt so helpless. And all of this was because of one person, a piece of trash. Now he had become a huge variable. After the battle at Phoenix Peak, if nothing unexpected happens, Longao will definitely be hiding. Even if we search the entire Sky Martial Continent, we might not be able to find Longao. Although that was the case, but I've already made up my mind. You two better be careful. It was not just the Thousand Beasts ancestor. Even the Long family, the Martial Artists Alliance, and the other powers did not search for Longao. Instead, they continued to fight for territory, causing the Sky Martial Continent to be littered with corpses and rivers of blood. Everyone was very clear about one problem. That was the Sky Martial Continent. It was boundless. Who knew where Longao was hiding? But almost everyone unanimously believed that with Longao's character, it was impossible for him to hide forever. He would eventually come out. After 3 years of chaos, no one wanted to miss this opportunity. Within the Dragon Seal space, ever since the battle at Phoenix Peak, 3 whole days had passed unknowingly. If it were anyone else, even if they devoured the blood-nascent lotus, they would not be able to refine it without at least half a year. Except for Longao. With the help of the firmament-devouring skill and the 9 revolving reincarnation skill, Longao had completely refined the blood-nascent lotus within his body in just 3 days. As for Bai Ling and Xiling, they might not be able to do it so quickly. As for Bai Ling, even though she was still unconscious, with the help of Xiling, Bai Ling was still refining the blood-nascent lotus. According to Longao's request, he gave the remaining 10% of the blood-nascent lotus to Aoshue. No matter what, with Aoshue's current situation, she needed a huge amount of energy, and the blood-nascent lotus was just right. If Aoshue were to devour the blood-nascent lotus directly, that would be impossible. However, with Long Fu's help, Aoshue was able to devour the blood-nascent lotus with more than enough energy. After devouring the blood-nascent lotus, Longao's comprehension of the heavens and earth not only stabilized, he even broke through to the unity of heaven and man realm. This was something that Longao had never expected. And all of this was thanks to Luing, his mother-in-law. His cultivation had already reached the unity of heaven and man realm. Next, Longao needed to condense his own domain of heaven and earth. This was both easy and difficult, depending on who it was. 2 hours later, Longao left the dragon seal space and punched out. The terrifying domain of heaven and earth descended. When he merged the domain of heaven and earth, Longao had integrated all of his energy into it. As for what attributes it had, even Longao wasn't sure. But in any case, Longao was confident that his domain of heaven and earth would be able to stand above the rest. His cultivation had already broken through to the unity of heaven and man realm. Next, he needed to advance towards the cycle reproduction. As for how to improve it, it was a simple matter. All he needed to do was to draw the domain of heaven and earth into his dantian and form a cycle. Then he would be able to reach the cycle reproduction realm. Breaking through sounded easy, but it was extremely difficult to do. If it was easy, there wouldn't be countless people who were stuck at the unity of heaven and man realm. They wouldn't be able to break through and achieve the cycle reproduction realm for their entire lives. Longao wasn't in a hurry to break through. Although he had already stabilized his cultivation, it wouldn't be beneficial to his cultivation if he advanced too quickly. At the earliest, he would need 3 months before he could try to draw the domain of heaven and earth into his dantian and achieve the cycle reproduction realm. Longao, what are you going to do next? Looking at Ziling, who had appeared beside him, Longao was very curious. He did not know why Ziling would suddenly ask about this at this time. Ziling, if you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to be polite with me. All right, Longao, you've already entered the draconic arcane realm. I believe you've seen the Hei Mo inside. Nodding, Longao became even more curious. Could it be that Ziling wanted to deal with the Hei Mo? Thinking of this, Longao was shocked. With the Hei Mo's strength, he was almost certain that the Hei Mo was a level 9 starry sky cultivator. Chapter 1655. Ziling, what's the meaning of this? Very few people in the Tianwu continent knew about the secret of the draconic arcane realm. Longao, I originally wanted to wait until you reached the starry sky realm before telling you about this, but with your talent, I believe it won't be long before you reach the starry sky realm. Ziling had such high hopes for him. It was rare for Longao to blush as he smiled. You've always wanted to know about my and my sister's background, so I'll tell you now.
Please.
He was overjoyed. Longao had always wanted to know about Ziling and Bai Ling's identities, as well as this world. As his strength continued to increase, Longao always felt that the continent he was in was very unusual, and there must be some shocking secret. If it was in the past, he might not have been qualified to know, but now his cultivation had successfully broken through the unity of heaven and man realm. He believed that he would reach the Nirvana rebirth realm in 3 years at most. He would know sooner or later. The Starry Sky Realm, the Starry Sky Cultivators, there's a saying in the Starry Sky Plain, under the starry sky, all are ants. Under the starry sky, all are ants. Longao did not feel the slightest bit unfamiliar, because the strength of a Starry Sky Cultivator was there. Even a Nirvana Rebirth realm martial artist was an ant-like existence in front of a Starry Sky Cultivator. What did Ziling mean by this? Longao did not speak, and just listened quietly, because he knew very well that Ziling said that the main event had yet to come. Longao, I'll tell you now, outside the Tianwu continent, there are many planes like this. In the vast starry sky, there are countless planes, and the Tianwu continent is only one of them, and it's a low-level plane. Vast starry sky? Countless planes standing in great numbers? The Tianwu continent is only a low-level plane? Longao was dumbfounded when he heard this. Even if he had guessed that the Tianwu continent was not that simple, he never thought that the continent he was in was only one of the countless planes. Longao would not have believed it if it had been someone else. However, Longao did not doubt Xiling at all. My sister and I are not from the Tianwu continent, but from the starry sky, the vast starry sky.
I see.
Longao did not feel surprised as he had imagined. Instead, his expression was extremely solemn. In the vast starry sky, there were countless planes. According to Violet Spirit, wouldn't cultivators in the starry sky be as numerous as the hairs on an ox? Longao, I know what you're thinking. Just like what you've guessed, there are a lot of starry sky cultivators outside the starry sky. Because in the vast starry sky, only those who have stepped into the first level of starry sky can be considered as having stepped into the starry sky martial Tao. The pinnacle of the martial Tao that he had painstakingly pursued, in the starry skies outside, he had only just stepped into the starry sky martial Tao. Violet Spirit smiled and said, as long as you become a cultivator of the starry sky and possess the power of the starry sky, you will be able to leave this plane, travel through the starry sky, and enter any starry sky plane. Just thinking about it made him excited. Longao found it hard to imagine what the countless planes in the starry sky were like. The Nirvana realm was a joke, a huge joke. Longao was very clear that whether it was him or Xingkuan, both of them might have stood at the peak of the martial heaven continent, but in the vast starry sky, they weren't even worth a fart. He believed that any random person would be able to kill him. Longao, countless years ago, the Tianwu continent was still a continent where people could freely enter and exit. However, at some point, the God Diviner and the Heavenly Tao suddenly appeared and sealed the Tianwu continent. What happened? Seeing Xiling suddenly stop talking, Longao was very curious. He was almost certain that this matter had something to do with the God Diviner and the Heavenly Taos. Why did they seal the Tianwu continent? Was it because they were afraid that cultivators from other planes would enter the Tianwu continent? That seemed a bit ridiculous. One must know that the divine mathematician was a genuine level 9 starry sky cultivator. Even the Heavenly Tao was a level 8 starry sky cultivator. With the strength of these two, no one in the entire starry sky would dare to provoke them. It seemed that he could guess what Longao was thinking. Longao, I will tell you about this later. I just want to say that your current strength is far from enough. When your cultivation breaks through to the starry sky cultivator and you have the opportunity, you can break the seal and go to the starry sky outside to have a look. Because that is where you should really go. Longao clenched his fists. If he didn't know, then so be it. Now that he knew, Longao naturally wouldn't miss it. No matter what happened, he would definitely break the seal and leave the Tianwu continent to see the starry sky. The outside world was very exciting. Xiling, I want to ask you something. Is there a higher realm above the starry sky realm? Longao wasn't sure, but his intuition told him that there must be a higher realm above the starry sky realm. For example, the God Diviner. As if he could guess what Xiling wanted to say, Longao immediately said, "Don't say that you can't tell me, because you already said that with my talent. I believe that I will soon reach the starry sky realm. At that time, even without you, I will still know. It's just that I know in advance." Longao. So what if you know? Maybe it will affect your state of mind. I know my own situation very well in my heart. Seeing that Longao had made up his mind, Violet's spirit sighed deeply and said helplessly, "Since you insist on knowing, then I will tell you. Your guess is correct. In the starry sky plane, a level 9 starry sky cultivator is not the most powerful existence. Above the level 9 starry sky cultivator, there is a higher existence. Sure enough, although he had guessed it, Longao's heart couldn't help but thump. He was very shocked. Purple spirit, an existence above grade 9 starry sky cultivators. What realm is that? Starry sky domain lord. When a starry sky warrior breaks through the 9th rank of the starry sky realm, he can become a domain lord and dominate a region. At that realm, a domain lord can dominate countless planes. Domain lord, starry sky domain lord. Just thinking about it made him excited. Longao knew very well that the status of a starry sky domain lord in the starry sky plane was like the status of a starry sky cultivator in the Tianwu continent. Was there a higher realm above the starry sky domain lord? Longao's intuition told him that the starry sky domain lord mentioned by Xiling was definitely not the strongest. In the vast starry sky, who could reach the peak of the starry sky? It seemed that he still had a long way to go. Xiling, are there stronger existences above the starry sky domain lord? P.S. These chapters were difficult to write, especially this one. It took 4 hours. In the vast starry sky, the Tianwu continent was just a place where Longao reincarnated. Only the starry sky was the place where Longao really rose. Chapter 1656. He nodded. You're right. The starry sky domain lord is not the strongest. His heart sank. It seemed that his guess was right. There were stronger existences above the starry sky domain lord. The starry sky domain lord is just the ruler of a region. If you want to dominate the starry sky, you have to condense and become a starry sky domain lord. Starry sky domain lord? Are there stronger existences above the starry sky domain lord? None. For some reason, Longao breathed a sigh of relief in his heart when he heard the word none. Xiling, tell me the truth. Is the divine mathematician's cultivation higher than a level 9 starry sky cultivator? Seeing Xiling nod, Longao's expression changed slightly. Sure enough, the divine mathematician's cultivation was higher than a level 9 starry sky cultivator. Xiling, what is the divine mathematician's realm? He must have reached the starry sky domain lord, but I'm not sure if he has broken through to the starry sky domain lord. Xiling, why did you suddenly mention Heimo? Heimo, sealed in the draconic mystic realm. According to Longao's calculation, Heimo's strength was very strong. He had even reached the 8th or 9th level of the starry sky realm. Heimo and Xiling's situation was not much different. They both had starry sky primordial spirits. As for whether Xiling or Heimo was stronger, it was still unknown. Longao, since things have come to this, I won't hide it from you. Xiling said helplessly. Many starry sky cultivators entered the Tianwu continent in the past, but none of them managed to escape. The strongest among them was Heimo, but his primordial spirit was sealed by the divine mathematician. Longao did not speak. He just listened quietly. Heimo had reached the starry sky domain lord realm back then. If he had not been sealed by the divine mathematician for so many years and was only a primordial spirit, I believe that with Heimo's talent and potential, he could have broken through to the starry sky domain lord realm.
He was shocked.
Longao had never imagined that even if the Black Devil was a domain lord, what did Xiling want? I've already thought about it. We don't have much time left. In 3 years, the weak space will break open. At that time, countless cultivators will pour into the martial heaven continent. Longao, you can imagine what that scene would be. Just the thought of it was terrifying. Countless cultivators from the starry skies were pouring into the Tianwu continent. At that time, who could stop them? As the saying went, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Even if the godly mathematician and the heavenly Tao were powerful, could they resist all the cultivators in the starry sky? It was a complete joke. Xiling, what are the odds that the Oracle will be able to repair the seal in 3 years? 50%, and it depends on luck. He didn't continue asking because Longao knew very well that with his current strength, it would be pointless to ask. Not to mention Starry Sky Domain Lords or Starry Sky Domain Emperors, even a random Starry Sky cultivator could easily destroy him. This was the Starry Sky Plain. In the vast Starry Sky, there were countless plains. At the same time, there were as many cultivators as there were hairs on an ox. Any one of them was a cultivator of the Starry Sky. As if thinking of something, Longao was shocked. He immediately asked, Xiling, could it be that you want to devour the Black Devil?
No.
Hearing Xiling say no, Longao sighed in relief. Longao, even I don't know the Oracle's identity. I want to ask the Black Devil about it. Don't underestimate him. He was able to seal the Martial Heaven continent for so many years without being discovered. That shows how powerful he is. Longao nodded. Longao had never looked down on the divine mathematician. As the #1 person in the Martial Sky continent, how could the divine mathematician have an undeserved reputation? Longao already understood Xiling's meaning. Since that was the case, he could only choose to make a trip to the draconic arcane realm. Aoshue had already devoured the power of the blood nascent lotus and would wake up in about 3 days. As for Bai Ling, no one knew when she would wake up. Longao didn't continue to stay in the Dragon Seal space. Looking back at the Phoenix Peak, Longao's eyes were cold as he muttered to himself, Lu Yi, one day, I will return. He left the Phoenix Peak. The day slowly passed, and dusk gradually arrived. Longao sat alone in the wilderness. In front of him was a bonfire. A few wild animals were roasting on the bonfire. Since you're here, please show yourself. Longao, long time no see. How have you been? Looking at the man who walked out of the void, Longao was surprised. This man was none other than the evil demon who had almost devoured Long Jing. The titled Great Emperor was curious. Could it be that the evil demon hadn't recovered to his peak strength? Ever since he left, Longao thought that he would never see the evil demon again in his life. No matter what, with his current strength, killing the evil demon was simply a matter of minutes. Evil demon, why are you looking for me this time? I like straightforward people. Since that's the case, I'll get straight to the point. Longao, I have a favor to ask of you. How about it?
Tell me about it.
Longao didn't immediately agree because he didn't know what the evil demon wanted him to do. If the evil demon wanted him to commit suicide, would he agree? That was impossible. Longao, this favor is very simple. To you, it's just a drop in the ocean. It's the dragon seal. I'm very interested in your dragon seal. Don't worry, I won't touch it. I just want to satisfy my curiosity. How about it? Dragon seal. Hearing that the evil demon actually wanted to take a look at the dragon seal in his hand, Longao was very curious. Previously, the evil demon had already chosen to compromise and didn't have any ideas about his dragon seal. Why would the evil demon suddenly appear and want to take a look at his dragon seal? Longao was extremely vigilant. How could he take out the dragon seal so easily? Who knew what the evil demon was up to? He directly rejected. Evil demon, forgive me for not being able to help you with this favor. If there's nothing else, please leave. An eviction order. Although there was nothing between him and the evil demon, Longao was very clear that the evil demon in front of him was definitely not his friend. If there was a chance, he believed that the evil demon wouldn't be merciful and kill him. Since that was the case, there was no need to dawdle. The evil demon wasn't surprised at all. It seemed that he had already guessed it. It would be strange if Longao obediently took out the dragon seal. He wouldn't believe it either. Would the evil demon choose to leave after being rejected, and the other party had already issued an eviction order? There was no doubt about it. The evil demon sneered and said, Longao, if you don't hand over the dragon seal, I'm afraid your Dragon Valley will be in trouble. Let me give you a piece of advice. It's best if you don't choose to go against me. Don't think that you have the qualifications to go against me just because you've broken through to the Nirvana realm. I can tell you clearly that you're still far from it. Chapter 1657. Looking at the demon threatening him, Longao's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the demon was hiding his strength? From the beginning to the end, Longao felt that this person wasn't simple. He shouldn't be a so-called titled Great Emperor. Since the demon knew that he had broken through to the Nirvana realm and still dared to threaten him, it could only mean one thing. The demon wasn't afraid of him. In other words, the demon thought that he could defeat him.
Sensing.
Longao was very puzzled. He could clearly sense that the demon in front of him was only a titled Great Emperor. Not to mention the Nirvana realm, he hadn't even reached the Supreme Tao realm. Are you still unwilling? Longao didn't say anything and just looked at him coldly. The two looked at each other coldly and didn't speak again. Just like that, time passed bit by bit. After an unknown period of time, Longao suddenly said, "Blood Demon, I have to admit that you're really powerful. Your primordial spirit is sealed by the dragon seal, but you can still split into countless primordial spirit clones. It seems that even if the dragon seal isn't broken, you can still leave the dragon seal space."
Surprised.
The demon didn't seem to expect Longao to be able to guess his identity. His appearance slowly changed. The demon just now had the appearance of the blood demon. Just as Longao had guessed, the demon wasn't the demon. The demon was just the primordial spirit clone of the blood demon. Back then, the blood demon was confident that even if the dragon seal wasn't broken, he could still break out of the seal. The blood demon was still in the primordial spirit state. The blood demon was only in the supreme realm. With Longao's current strength, killing the blood demon would be a piece of cake. Because of this, Longao couldn't understand why the blood demon dared to appear in front of him. Wasn't the blood demon afraid that he would attack and kill him? His face was calm. The blood demon laughed coldly and said, "Longao, if I had a primordial spirit, I wouldn't be your opponent. But now I have found my body." Just as he finished speaking, the aura of the blood demon suddenly exploded and soared to the unity of heaven and man. He also condensed his own domain of heaven and earth. What was going on? Seeing Blood Devil's appearance change again, Longao's face became more and more gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Long Chun. The current blood demon was Long Chun. Ever since the war with the Long family started, Longao had never looked for Long Chun even once because he didn't want Long Chun to get involved in the war. With Long Chun's strength, it would be too easy for the Long family to deal with Long Chun. Blood demon, you destroyed Long Chun? He hoped that this wasn't true. However, Longao knew very well that since the blood demon had chosen Long Chun, given Long Chun's situation, he had no chance at all. Ha 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 ha. At this moment, Blood Devil laughed maniacally. After a few minutes, the blood demon finally stopped. "The heavens are helping me. There's nothing I can do. I actually managed to find a body with the exact same constitution as my true body. With it, I'm confident that I'll be able to return to my peak state in the shortest amount of time." Lin Fan gripped his fists tightly. To think that blood demon would choose Long Chun, his friend. "Longao, there's nothing I can do about it. Who asked this lad to be compatible with my essence spirit? However, he should be thankful that he could become the body of my blood demon. F***ck your mother's fart. Rage." His friend's soul was destroyed and his body turned into the body of the blood demon. Longao tried his best to suppress the boundless rage within his body. If he had known that this would happen, he would have brought Long Chun away from the Long family. If Long Chun was in the Dragon Valley right now, this wouldn't have happened. Regret. Longao was filled with a deep sense of guilt in his heart. He had not expected that out of all the people in the Sky Martial continent, the Blood Demon would choose Long Chun over anyone else. "Blood Demon, you've already crossed my bottom line. I'll have you destroyed so that you can accompany my friend down there." With just you? Disdain was written all over his face. In the blood demon's eyes, he had never placed Longao in his eyes. "Longao, don't think that you're invincible just because you've broken through to the Nirvana realm. If it weren't for the dragon seal in your hand, do you really think that you could survive until now? How could Longao not know about the blood demon's strength? It would be a lie to say that he was not afraid of him. The blood demon had already recovered to the one with the world realm. If he continued to recover like this, who knew how strong he would become? Longao was almost certain that the blood demon's true body had reached the level of a starry sky cultivator, or even a starry sky domain lord. The dragon seal's power was there for all to see. If the dragon seal had to use all its power to seal the blood demon, it was easy to imagine how strong the blood demon's true body was. Are you afraid? Blood demon, I've already said that you killed my friend. I'll settle this debt with you. One day, I'll let you know the price of a life for a life. Longao forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. However, he did not act recklessly because he knew that the blood demon's cultivation had already recovered to the one with the world realm. If he made a move now, he might not be able to kill the blood demon. Before he had full confidence, he would not casually make a move. Longao only had one thing to do, and that was to kill the blood demon in one strike. No matter what happened, he had to take revenge for Long Chun. Longao turned around and left. He did not want to waste any more time. Just as Longao turned around to leave, he sensed a terrifying power behind him. He hurriedly dodged and was almost killed by the blood demon's punch. Longao was very surprised. He did not expect the blood demon to be so fast. Longao, if I didn't show mercy, you would be dead now. I've already said that as long as you hand over the dragon seal, the grudge between us will be written off. From now on, I won't look for you. As for the Dragon Valley, it will be safe and sound. What do you think? Using the Dragon Valley to threaten me? Longao cursed in his heart. He felt helpless. It seemed that he had to think of a way to return to the Dragon Valley this time. The blood demon was too unpredictable. If the blood demon really came looking for trouble with the Dragon Valley, things would become very troublesome. As the saying went, one could never be too careful. If something happened to the Dragon Valley, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Blood demon, I won't give you the dragon seal. Let me give you a piece of advice. Otherwise, if you anger me, I'll seal you again, even if it means risking my life. With just you? If the dragon seal was still here, it might be possible. But you... The blood demon did not continue speaking. However, the disdain on his face showed his attitude. He did not believe Longao at all. Although the dragon seal was powerful, it depended on who had it. Master, leave quickly. There is something wrong with the blood demon. He is deliberately stalling for time. Chapter 1658. Stalling for time? Why was the blood demon stalling for time? Was there something fishy going on? Longao did not suspect Long Fu. If there was anyone in this world who understood the blood demon the most, it would be Long Fu. No matter what, the dragon seal had sealed the blood demon for 10,000 years. Long Fu had spent all his time with the blood demon. Longao. Before the blood demon could finish speaking, Longao turned and left. He used spatial teleportation. After a few teleportations, Longao's figure completely disappeared without a trace. Looking at the disappearing figure, the blood demon's lips slowly curled into a cold smile. You want to play with me? Let's see if you have the right to do so. As soon as he finished speaking, the blood demon's figure also disappeared. In the dragon seal space. Long Fu, what do you think the blood demon wants? Why is he stalling for time? Longao could not figure out the blood demon's intention. Could it be the Dragon Valley? Master, the blood demon is not only powerful, but also cunning. The blood demon was obviously stalling for time. According to my guess, the blood demon wants to deal with the Dragon Valley. As expected, Longao knew very well that as long as the blood demon could control the Dragon Valley, he would have to hand over the dragon seal. Sword Realm or a shield? Longao turned to Xiling and asked, Xiling, can the Sword Realm Aura shield you set up stop the blood demons? This was the most important thing. Xiling's expression was a little serious. After thinking for a while, he said, "Under normal circumstances, the Sword Realm aura shield I set up should be able to stop the Blood Demon. However, the Blood Demon situation is a little special. As for whether it can stop the Blood Demon, I'm not completely confident." This was big trouble. Longao did not continue asking because the most important thing now was to rush back to the Dragon Valley as quickly as possible. Longao had secretly returned to the 9 continents, and no one knew about it. After the battle at Phoenix Peak, many people believed that Longao had been heavily injured and would need some time to recuperate. No one could have imagined that in just a few days, Longao would not only recover from his injuries, but his cultivation would also soar. 9 provinces continent. Dragon Valley. Even when Longao returned to the Dragon Valley, he did not let anyone know, including the people of the Dragon Valley. As the saying goes, there's no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. The best way was to keep it a secret as little as possible. Seeing that his grandfather and the others were safe and sound, Longao let out a sigh of relief. However, he was still furious. As long as the Blood Devil didn't die, he would always be a threat. Long Fu, how strong is Blood Devil? Intuition told Longao that Blood Demon was not that simple. The Blood Pool True Body required the Dragon Seal to use all of its power to suppress it. Just thinking about it made one realize how terrifying the Blood Demon's strength was. Starry Sky Region Emperor. My grass. When Longao heard that the Blood Demon's cultivation had reached the Starry Sky Region Emperor, he couldn't help but swear. He had never expected Blood Demon to be so powerful. The Starry Sky Region Emperor. According to Violet Spirit, the Starry Sky Region Emperor stood at the pinnacle of the starry sky. Even in the vast starry sky, he was a top-notch existence. It was hard to imagine. If the Blood Demon returned to his peak state, who could stop him? Even the Oracle might not be a match for him. After all, whether the Oracle was a Starry Sky Region Emperor was still unknown. Fortunately, the Blood Demon had been sealed for too long. It would not be easy for him to return to his peak state. He had to kill the Blood Demon as soon as possible to prevent any future troubles. Therefore, Longao also thought of one thing: the Dragon Seal True Body Strength. Since the Blood Demon's peak strength had reached the Starry Sky Region Emperor, there was no doubt that the Dragon Seal True Body was also a Starry Sky Region Emperor. It was not hard to imagine that even if the Dragon Seal True Body had fallen, the remaining Dragon Seals would not be too weak once they returned to their peak state. Finally, there was a backup plan. Long Fu, is there any way to seal the Dragon Valley and fend off the Blood Demon and others? The Sword Realm Chi Shield could only block the attacks of others. Unless the Oracle and the Way of the Heavens came in person, even super experts like the Myriad Beasts ancestor, Lu Yi and Xing Kuan could not break the Sword Realm Chi Shield. The Blood Demon was the biggest problem. Longao knew very well that the Dragon Seal had sealed the Blood Demon for 10,000 years. If even Long Fu could not do anything, then he really could not think of anyone in the world who could deal with the Blood Demon. After thinking about it, Long Fu certainly knew the seriousness of the matter. No matter what, he could not let anything happen to his master's Dragon Valley. Master, there is only one way now, and that is to use the Dragon Seal's power to seal the entire Dragon Valley. However, it can only be kept under the Blood Demon's starry sky. Once the Blood Demon's cultivation reaches the Starry Sky Realm, Long Fu did not continue speaking at this point, because he knew that his master must know what he was going to say next. Longao was not happy or excited at being able to resist the Blood Demon for the time being. The reason was very simple. Long Fu had already said that once the Blood Demon reached the Starry Sky Realm, even the Dragon Seal would not be able to stop him. If it was anyone else, Longao would not be worried at all. In the current martial heaven continent, whether it was the reproduction of one's own origin energy or devouring it, it was impossible. In other words, no one could break through to the Starry Sky Realm. It was impossible for others, but that did not mean it was impossible for the Blood Demon. The Blood Demon had already devoured Long Chun and found his body. As long as he had enough time, let alone breaking through to the starry sky realm, he could even reach the peak of the starry sky realm. Longao was very clear that Long Fu had already done his best. It seemed that he could only take one step at a time. Night fell, and the 9 heavens were dotted with stars. At this time, a black shadow shot over from afar and arrived in the blink of an eye. Looking at the Dragon Valley in front of him, the Blood Devil sneered. He didn't make a move before, because he was waiting for Longao to come back. In his opinion, only by hurting the people of the Dragon Valley in front of Longao would Longao know that he couldn't provoke them and obediently hand over the dragon seal. He punched out. The blood demon was full of confidence. With the power of the blood pool circulating within him, even with the protection of the Sword World's energy barrier, he could shatter it with one punch. But the result? The result was completely unexpected. Longao was unscathed, which dumbfounded the blood demon. Looking at his fist, he wondered if his strength had decreased. That was not possible. The blood demon still did not believe it. He punched out again and again. In just a few seconds, he had already punched over 100 times. However, Longao did not budge. The blood demon knew that something was wrong and immediately released his own power. The Dragon Seal. Longao can actually use the Dragon Seal's power. It must be Long Fu's doing. The blood demon instantly understood what was going on. Chapter 1659. The blood demon had never expected that Long Fu would use the power of the Dragon Seal for Longao. But the Dragon Seal had sealed him for so many years and had damaged him greatly. Forcibly using so much power would probably cause him a lot of trouble. Longao, don't think you've won. Wait until my cultivation recovers to the starry sky realm. I'd like to see how you deal with it. After his anger, the blood demon suddenly laughed. Of course, the blood demon knew how much power the Dragon Seal could maintain. As long as his cultivation recovered to the starry sky realm, he could easily break the Dragon Seal air shield. The blood demon left. The air shield Long Fu had set up was actually only targeted at the blood demon. It probably wouldn't work on others. The blood demon has left. I believe he won't look for you for a while. He nodded. Anger. The thought of the blood demon swallowing Long Chen, his friend, filled Longao with endless anger. However, his rationality suppressed his anger and impulse, because he knew that seeking revenge on the blood demon at this time was not a wise move. In any case, the blood demon's temporary departure could be considered as one less trouble. Prevention was better than cure. Although the blood demon was temporarily intimidated, Longao wasn't happy at all, because the blood demon would always be a big problem if he didn't get rid of him. Besides the blood demon, there were others. Just as Longao was thinking of a way to deal with them, a pleasant surprise suddenly came. Inside the Dragon Seal space. Seeing Ao Xue and Bai Ling wake up at the same time and talking happily, Longao was pleasantly surprised. Brother Long, Ao Xue, and Bai Ling saw Longao come in and shouted at the same time. He directly pulled the two of them over and hugged them tightly, without saying a word. Just like that, he hugged them quietly. As Bai Ling and Ao Xue woke up, Longao's 3 confidants were all safe and sound and returned to the Dragon Valley smoothly. In the following days, Longao and his 3 confidants spent a few days peacefully. After this incident, Longao had already decided that no matter what happened, the 3 of them couldn't leave the Dragon Valley. Only then would he be able to feel at ease. Beside the 100 Flowers Pond. Big Brother Long, I already know about the battle at Phoenix Peak. I hope you can promise me one thing. Ao Xue, I will spare his life. Without Ao Xue saying anything, Longao could already guess what Ao Xue was going to say. Although Lu Yi had wronged him first, from the beginning to the end, Longao had never thought of killing Lu Yi because of Ao Xue. No matter what, Lu Yi was Ao Xue's grandfather. Even if you don't respect the monk, you have to respect the Buddha. Thank you. Longao sat quietly beside Ao Xue. The two of them didn't speak anymore. Other than Longao, no one else knew about the Blood Devil. Other than a few people, no one else knew that Longao had returned to the Dragon Valley. Longao had sealed the news because he knew how serious this matter was. After obtaining the inheritance of the starry sky, Longao should have entered seclusion. However, for the matter of his grandson, he chose to leave seclusion. In just a few days, the battle at Phoenix Peak had dissipated like smoke. Very few people brought it up. If it had been in the past, this storm would have lasted for a year and a half. However, the current situation was completely different. The Martial Heaven continent was in turmoil. Even the 10-direction tripod had joined the war. In 3 years, no one knew who would live and who would die until the final moment. After the battle at Phoenix Peak, everyone knows your secret. As long as you show yourself, it'll cause a lot of trouble. Surrounded by enemies. How could Longao not know about his grandfather's worries? He had never imagined that things would reach this point. Longao had never thought that the 10,000 beasts old ancestor would spread his secret. After all, it might not be a good thing for the 10,000 beasts old ancestor if everyone in the world knew about it. It could only mean one thing. The 10,000 beasts old ancestor wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife and eliminate all future troubles. This move was truly a bit too sudden for him. As for the Phoenix race, Longao hadn't expected Lu Yi to go back on his word. If he hadn't borrowed the power of the dragon seal, he probably would have died. Grandfather, don't worry. I'll let everyone know that Longao's things aren't so easy to snatch. Looking at his confident grandson, Longao could only sigh helplessly. If it had only been 1 or 2 people, or even the 10-direction tripod, he would have been filled with confidence after watching Ao for a few years. But now, everyone in the world was watching his grandson. As long as he showed himself or grasped the opportunity, even those people who had helped his grandson before, such as the Sword Sect, would not hesitate to attack. Jianling's Yuan spirit was a temptation that no one could resist. Ao, what are you planning to do now? Grandfather, I've already decided that no matter what, I'll rise to prominence on the Martial Heaven continent. I have to get my hands on one of the 10-direction tripod. Longao definitely wouldn't give up on such a rare opportunity. He was very clear that in 3 years, the God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos would appear. At that time, if the weak space couldn't be repaired, the Martial Heaven continent would welcome countless experts from the starry sky. If that really happened, then other than the God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos, no one would be able to escape. However, Longao would not tell his grandfather about this matter because no one knew what would happen 3 years later. Before it was confirmed, saying it at this time would only cause everyone to panic. Longao was very clear about Ao's personality. Once he had decided on something, he wouldn't change his mind. Since that was the case, there was no point in him saying anything. It was better to help Ao. If the Dragon Sect could really get their hands on the 10-direction tripod, it would be a matter of history. Ao, since that's the case, I won't say anything more. How about this? You can take away the blood spiders and blood mantises, as well as all the corpse demons in the sect. That way, your chances of getting your hands on the 10-direction tripod will be greater. What do you think? This kind of help was naturally a good thing for Longao. However, Longao shook his head and resolutely said, Grandfather, I won't take away the blood spiders and blood mantises. As for the corpse demons, I can't take them away either. I don't want anything to happen to the Dragon Valley. I don't want anything to happen to the Martial Heaven continent. I only want to do one thing. The Dragon Valley had the blood spiders and blood mantises, as well as the Hades, Aoshue, Yuin, and many other Nirvana experts. As long as a large number of Nirvana experts didn't come, the Dragon Valley would be fine. As long as the Dragon Valley was fine, there would be one less worry. Ao, what is it? Do you need my help? Chapter 1660. Grandfather, the only thing you need to do now is to refine the starry sky inheritance in your body as soon as possible. As long as his grandfather could refine the starry sky inheritance and become a starry sky cultivator, The Dragon Valley would be the safest place. How could Longao not know about this? After thinking about it, "Grandfather, I will stay in the sect for a few days to refine pills. I am going to help the thousands of people who received the Divine Tao inheritance break through." Are you confident? Although nearly 1,000 people in the Dragon Valley received the Divine Tao inheritance, it was easier said than done to refine all of them and break through to the Divine Tao realm.
Yes.
In the following days, Longao focused on refining pills. Alchemists were divided into Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, Level 4, Level 5, Level 6, Level 7, Level 8, and Level 9 alchemists in ascending order of strength. Above the 9th grade alchemist were King grade alchemists, Emperor grade alchemists, Venerable grade alchemists, Emperor grade alchemists, and Divine grade alchemists. Alchemists were the same as array masters. They needed talent. Whether it was alchemy or array masters, Longao was a genius among geniuses. In other words, the present Longao was not only a divine rank array master, he was also a divine rank alchemist. After becoming a divine alchemist, Xiling got a secret alchemy technique from somewhere and gave it to Longao. One of the pills was called the Divine Essence Pill. As long as a martial artist took it, they could break through to the Divine Tao realm in a short time. Moreover, there were already more than 1,000 people in the Dragon Valley who had swallowed the inheritance of the Divine Path. According to Longao's estimation, as long as they were combined with the Divine Essence Pill, the cultivation of more than 1,000 people would be able to smoothly break through to the Divine Path realm in less than a month. Longao was confident in refining the Divine Essence Pill. For a whole day and night, Longao refined the Divine Essence Pill with all his might. In the end, he successfully refined 2,000 Divine Essence Pills. In addition to the 1,000 people who had consumed the Divine Tao inheritance, Longao also chose another 1,000 people to consume the Divine Essence Pills. Longao's intention was simple. On this trip to the Tianwu continent, it was impossible for him to obtain the 10 directional cauldrons by himself. The only way was to think of a way to create a troop, which was also a Divine Tao army. An army of 500,000 corpse slaves and over 1,000 Divine Tao martial artists. In Longao's view, it was already sufficient to deal with all problems. The current Dragon sect still lacked Nirvana realm martial artists. Even though all of the Nirvana realm martial artists combined were enough to form a tripod of 10 forces, more than 5 Nirvana realm martial artists had to stay in the Dragon Valley. For example, Hades, Aoshue, Yuin, the Crimson Spider, and the Crimson Mantis. Aoshue and Yuin got along well. As for Bai Ling, she was a kind girl. She was so kind that even Aoshue and Yuin loved Bai Ling very much. However, Bai Ling was still a primordial spirit. Without a body, it was impossible for her to stay in the outside world for a long time. In other words, this time, when leaving the Dragon Valley for the Tianwu continent, only Bai Ling would follow Longao. Aoshue and Yuin were naturally unwilling. In their eyes, the two of them had already reached the Nirvana realm and were enough to help. Longao tried his best to persuade the two of them and finally settled them. Before leaving, Longao handed Aoshue over to Lu Ying and left behind a large amount of divine soul. This way, Aoshue could continuously devour and not continue to faint. Towards the son of his who had yet to be born, Longao was also extremely helpless. This kind of situation had never happened in the Tianwu continent. Before he was even born, he had already started cultivating in his mother's womb. Furthermore, he needed to devour a large amount of energy. It was hard to imagine what kind of heaven-defying monster his son would be once he was born. 3 days later, Longao brought 500,000 corpse slaves and over 1,000 people who had consumed the Divine Yuan Dan and secretly left the Dragon Valley and secretly entered the Tianwu continent. Lu Li Mountain. Although the Lu Li sect had already submitted to the Dragon sect, Longao did not change the name of the Lu Li Mountain. In the secluded back peak, there were ruins everywhere. Seeing that the master was safe and sound, Lu Li, Yun Luoshan, and Yun Feng were pleasantly surprised. Master, are you all right? Everyone knew about the battle at the Phoenix Peak. The master had been ambushed by Lu Yi and the ancient Qilin. Even now, it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. However, seeing that the master was fine, the three of them heaved a sigh of relief. I'm fine. The three of you this time. I have to hurry up when I return. We don't have much time left. A tenth of the 3 years had passed, and the remaining time would pass in the blink of an eye. When the divine mathematician and the heavenly Tao came out of seclusion, the weak space would be broken, and the consequences would be unimaginable. It was precisely because of this that Longao was very clear about his next step. Master, after the battle at the Phoenix Peak, everyone in the world is looking for you. If you appear at this time, I'm afraid. When Luli said this, she did not continue, but the meaning in her words was very clear. The current situation was very unfavorable for Longao. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. If he went out at this time, he would probably be attacked by everyone. After all, the temptation of the Starry Sky inheritance was too great. The 3 of you remember, from now on, no matter what happens, you will be the one to deal with it. As for other troubles, leave them to me. Seeing that the master had made his decision, the 3 of them did not say anything more. In any case, they would deal with whatever came their way. Other than Long Haosher and a few others, no one else knew that Longao had returned to the Martial Heaven continent. If this matter was made known to the world, who knew what would happen? After all, other than Jianling's Yuan spirit, Longao still had many treasures in his body. Any one of them would be enough to make all the Nirvana realm experts fight to the death. The dragon sect was rebuilt. The 3 elders were Yan Luishan, Yunfeng, and Lu Li. As for the 1,000-odd people, they were all protectors of the dragon sect. After consuming the divine Yuan pill, they would probably be able to break through to the divine Tao in less than half a year. The 3 of them did not remain idle. They immediately began to recruit disciples. However, other than a few dozen people, no one else came. The reason was very simple. After the battle at Phoenix Peak, Longao had become the public enemy of the world. Although the 4 great sects of the Sword Sect stood on Longao's side, there were still 6 superpowers, including Xing Kuan. All of them had their eyes on Longao. Joining the Dragon Sect at this time would only lead to death. News of the Dragon Sect's establishment had already spread throughout the Martial Heaven continent. However, the people who received the news didn't make the slightest move. That was because they were only looking for Longao. A small dragon sect was nothing in their eyes. Longao had been heavily injured, and it would be impossible for him to recover in a short time. Furthermore, for him to appear at this time was completely stupid. So almost everyone was certain that Longao would not appear on the continent for a short time. Author's note: today it will be 3 chapters. Tomorrow there will be a huge explosion of 15 chapters. It will begin at dawn. I hope everyone will vote for Longao at that time. Little 9, thanks you. Chapter 1661. Phoenix Peak. Inside the Phoenix Hall, Longao had left without a hitch. Lu Yi and the primordial Qilin were still in a daze. Lu Yi's sneak attack had embarrassed them and made them a laughingstock in the world. Lu Yi was not only the patriarch of the Phoenix clan, but also a Nirvana rebirth martial artist. Even an ordinary person would not have done such a sneak attack, let alone Lu Yi. However, Lu Yi did not regret it. Brother Lu, this was all caused by the 1,000 Beasts ancestor. If he had not leaked the secret, we would have already obtained Jianling's primordial spirit. Brother Qilin, so, what if it's the 1,000 Beasts ancestor? The 1,000 Beasts ancestor was so powerful that even if the Phoenix clan and the Qilin clan joined forces, they might not be able to destroy the 1,000 Beasts sect. Lu Yi sighed deeply. Longao left this time. It's not easy to find traces of him in the sea of people. Lu Yi was more worried that Longao would cause trouble for the Phoenix clan. Everyone in the world knew about Longao's past. Longao single-handedly caused the Martial Artists Alliance to suffer heavy losses. Compared to the Martial Artists Alliance, the Phoenix clan was not much different. If they could obtain Jianling's primordial spirit, any sacrifice would be worth it.
But now,
Lui felt deeply helpless at the thought of it. Brother Liu, Longao is too unpredictable. Since you and I have already done this, we can't be soft-hearted. Brother Qilin, I know what you mean. Lui clenched his fists and said helplessly, if Aoshue was still here, we could still use Aoshue as bait. But now, Aoshue is not here. Longao will not be fooled. Until now, Lui still couldn't figure out how Longao did it. He took away Aoshue and his daughter without anyone knowing. If he didn't experience it himself, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Longao was too unpredictable. Brother Liu, although Longao took away Aoshue, there is still the Dragon Valley. As long as we can break the seal of the Dragon Valley, we can threaten Longao to hand over Jianling's primordial spirit. Xing Kuan and the others had also thought of the method that the primordial Qilin had thought of. Lu Yi shook his head. Brother Qilin, you're oversimplifying things. Back then, the myriad beasts' ancestor, Tong Zun and Long Tian worked together, but they still couldn't break the seal of the Dragon Valley. Do you think we can do it alone? How could the primordial Qilin not know what had happened back then? It was also because of that battle that the Dragon Valley became famous throughout the world. More than 20 Nirvana realm martial artists attacked at the same time, but they were still unable to break the seal of the Dragon Valley. Forbidden power. Brother Qilin, what do you mean by this? Lu Yi was a little surprised because he already knew what the primordial Qilin wanted to say. You and I both know the strength of the myriad beasts' ancestor, and the others very well. The fact that more than 20 Nirvana realm martial artists were unable to break the seal of the Dragon Valley can only mean one thing. The primordial Qilin was also unwilling to believe it, but the truth was right in front of him. There's only one explanation, and that is that the seal of the Dragon Valley is a forbidden power that only the experts at the peak of the martial Tao have. Divine mathematician. Lu Yi immediately continued, because in the current Sky Martial Continent, there were only 2 experts at the peak of the martial Tao left. One was the Heavenly Tao, and the other was the Divine Mathematician. The Heavenly Tao had no reason to help Longao, only the Divine Mathematician. One had to know that the Divine Mathematician had personally descended on the Sword Sect and sided with Longao in front of everyone. If the Dragon Valley was protected by a forbidden power, then there was no doubt that it was done by the Divine Mathematician. If that was the case, then in the world, other than the Heavenly Tao himself, who else could break the defense set up by the Divine Mathematician? Brother Qilin, if there's anything you want to say, just say it. Lu Yi was not a fool. If the primordial Qilin had no way, it would not have said so much nonsense. It was just that Lu Yi could not figure out what method the primordial Qilin had to break the forbidden power. Brother Liu, our spirit beast race has a secret that I believe you should know. What are you talking about? That's right. Lu Yi was startled. He had never imagined that the primordial Qilin would want to use that power. He hastily said, you should know that once the 3 of us work together, the Heavenly Tao and the Divine Mathematician will definitely know. If that's the case, we'll be in big trouble. If it was before, we definitely wouldn't have been able to do it. But now, the Divine Mathematician is in seclusion, and the Heavenly Tao isn't present. This is our best chance. The Heavenly Tao had already left the Martial Heaven continent. This was no secret in the Martial Heaven continent. The Divine Beast race had a huge secret. That was that once the primordial Qilin, the primordial Phoenix, and the primordial Divine Dragon worked together, even if their cultivation bases hadn't reached the starry sky realm, they would still be able to release a forbidden power. The primordial Qilin was completely confident that as long as the 3 of them worked together, breaking the Dragon Valley's seal would be a matter of minutes. The primordial Qilin's method was undoubtedly risky. Once the Heavenly Tao learned of this, given its nature, it would definitely eliminate the 3 of them. That was what Lu Yi was most worried about. Although the primordial Phoenix had already fallen, Lu Yi had already inherited its inheritance. Otherwise, the primordial Qilin wouldn't have said that. In other words, if they wanted to release the forbidden power, they had to gather the power of the primordial Qilin, the primordial phoenix, and the primordial divine dragon. Looking at the primordial Qilin in front of her, Lu Yi was very clear that other than this method, it was almost impossible to obtain Jianling's Yuan spirit. She had to take a risk. Thinking of this, Lu Yi's eyes suddenly turned cold. She said, "All right, let's go find the primordial divine dragon now." Lu Yi and the primordial Qilin immediately left Phoenix Peak for the dragon race. However, the two of them had already discussed this matter. They absolutely couldn't let Long Tian know about it. After a short discussion, the primordial divine dragon agreed. As for Long Tian, he didn't care about Jianling's Yuan spirit at all. The reason was very simple. Both Long Tian and Tong Zun had already obtained the origin energy. Apart from the clairvoyant master, no one knew that the two of them would definitely reach the starry sky realm within 3 years. However, in order to fool others, the two of them came to Phoenix Peak this time. More importantly, they wanted to kill Longao. The primordial Qilin, the primordial divine dragon, and Lu Yi were the 3 nirvana divine beasts. As the most powerful divine beasts, the 3 of them could release the forbidden power when working together. In this case, unless the clairvoyant master and the heavenly Tao personally came, the 3 divine beasts would be invincible in the world. The 3 nirvana divine beasts rushed to the 9 states as fast as they could because they knew very well that as long as they could deal with Longao's family, Longao would obediently do whatever they wanted Longao to do. Chapter 1662. Dragon Tribe. The 3 nirvana divine beasts had just left, and Longao had already rushed over. Both sides had arrived one after another. Until now, Longao still did not know why Xiling was looking for Mo. With Longao's current strength, coupled with his teleportation, no one would be able to detect him if he entered the Dragon Tribe. Draconic Arcane Realm. In the dark space. Longao. Mo was surprised to see the young man who had suddenly appeared in front of him. He did not know why Longao had suddenly come here. "Senior Mo, I have a question to ask. I hope you can answer me truthfully."
Sure.
If it were someone else, would Mo have done this? Except for Longao. To be precise, it should be the mysterious young man in Longao's body, which was also Longao's reincarnation original body. "Senior Mo, I would like to ask. Back then, the oracle sealed you. With your strength, it would not be difficult for you to break the seal and leave. Why are you still here?" The question was not asked by Longao, but by Xiling. As for why Xiling asked this question, Longao still did not know. Mo seemed to be surprised. He did not expect Longao to know about this because this was something that only a few people knew about. "Longao, how did you know?" I asked on behalf of others. Mo did not continue asking because he knew that the person who knew about this was definitely not simple. "Longao, forgive me for not being able to answer this question. This is my secret." Longao was not surprised by Mo's answer because he had already guessed that Mo would not answer. Just like what Mo had said, this was his secret. How could he reveal it so easily? "Senior Mo, back then, when the seal of Tianwu continent was broken, countless cultivators entered Tianwu continent. I would like to ask, what was the reason?" Longao was also curious about Xiling's question. Xiling had also said that the martial heaven continent was just a low-level plane in the starry sky. Even if the seal had been broken, it wouldn't have been possible for so many cultivators from the starry sky to enter. Furthermore, there was even a region emperor among them. Mo was a starry sky region emperor. There was also something else that Longao couldn't figure out. Xiling and Bai Ling also did not belong to the sky martial continent. Since that was the case, why did the two of them enter the sky martial continent? Xiling didn't say anything, and Longao didn't ask either. Longao knew that if Xiling wanted to say something, Xiling would say it without him asking. If Xiling didn't want to say it, Then no matter how he asked, he believed that Xiling wouldn't say it. Black Demon's expression changed again. In the end, Hey Mo sighed deeply and said helplessly, back then, the Sky Martial Continent had been sealed by the divine mathematician. Under normal circumstances, the seal couldn't have been broken so easily. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. I don't know why, but the seal on the Martial Heaven continent suddenly broke. Even so, the Martial Heaven continent is just a low-level plane. Perhaps cultivators below the 6th rank will try to get their hands on it, but cultivators above the 6th rank won't even look at it, let alone become an overlord. Longao became more and more curious. Hey Mo was a starry sky region emperor. He definitely wouldn't look at a small low-level plane. Since that was the case, why did Hey Mo enter the Sky Martial Continent? According to Xiling, a starry sky region emperor was a peak existence even in the vast starry sky. At this point, Longao was sure of one thing. The Sky Martial Continent was definitely not simple. It was easy to imagine that a small low-level plane could attract a starry sky region emperor. At that time, the Sky Martial Continent sent out a message. There was a heaven-shaking secret on the Sky Martial Continent.
I won't tell you this secret.
Once your cultivation base reaches a certain level, you'll know. There was no anger. Longao knew that Hey Mo wouldn't tell him the secret of the Sky Martial Continent. This secret has attracted countless cultivators in the starry sky, including me. I believe you already know my strength. Longao nodded. He didn't hide anything. The Starry Sky Region Emperor. Ha ha ha, I really didn't expect you to know about the Starry Sky Region Emperor. But it's normal. Hey Mo could be proud of the Starry Sky Region Emperor. In the vast starry sky, the Starry Sky Region Emperor was the strongest existence. Suddenly, Hey Mo sighed deeply. When all the cultivators entered the Sky Martial Continent, they found that it was a trap. The divine mathematician and the heavenly Daos not only killed all the cultivators of the Sky Martial Continent, but they also killed all the cultivators who entered. Senior Hey Mo, why? Longao couldn't understand why the divine mathematician and the heavenly Daos would do such a thing. Did they have nothing better to do? Or could it be that the two of them had deliberately lured the starry sky cultivators in so that they could kill them? It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. There were countless cultivators in the starry sky. How could the divine mathematician and the heavenly Daos kill them all? With my power, I can dominate anywhere in the starry sky. The only exception is the Sky Martial Continent. In truth, I underestimated the divine mathematician too much. I never would have thought that not only were you the Starry Sky Region Emperor, but you were even stronger than me. You saw the result. As expected, the divine mathematician was the Starry Sky Region Emperor, and he was even stronger than Hey Mo. In other words, the divine mathematician's strength was quite terrifying. Because the Black Devil had said that the divine mathematician's strength was enough to move unhindered in the vast starry sky. If that was the case, wouldn't the divine mathematician be able to move unhindered in the vast starry sky? Longao was shocked. He had never imagined that the divine mathematician's power would be so terrifying. If that was the case, why would the divine mathematician need his help? Even if the divine mathematician couldn't repair the spatial crack, he wouldn't need to fear any cultivator in the starry sky. Even if they were the Starry Sky Region Emperor or the Starry Sky Region Emperor. A trap. Longao didn't know why, but his intuition told him that the repair of the weak space 3 years later was a trap. Although he still didn't know why the divine mathematician was doing this, he was just a little god emperor and a nirvana realm martial artist. In the eyes of the divine mathematician, he was no different from an ant. Longao, I've already told you everything I can. As for what I can't say, you're not qualified to know. As for why I'm staying, it's because the Martial Heaven continent has been sealed once more. Unless I can recover my peak power, I won't be able to break the seal. Secondly, I can't leave the Martial Heaven continent. If I miss this opportunity, I will regret it for the rest of my life. Author's note: I've delivered all 3 chapters. 15 chapters will be delivered tomorrow. It will begin at dawn tonight. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.